DCU Daily, penultimate day, penultimate show of the week. Today is Thursday. Only one more day left, but until then, we are going to be doing all sorts of fun things, talking about all sorts of fun things for your amusement and for your information on all things pop culture. The first thing that we're going to be getting into is MCU Weekly. Going to start it off today. We got a couple of those, so we're like, might as well introduce it in today's episode. Then we have a little bit of movie talk terror. We are talking more about the sequel that's been in the docket for 12 years, 24 Jump Street, but we have more information on why it's called that, as well as, any other information we have. Pixar dropped a new trailer for their upcoming film Gato, so we will be talking about that, as well as the first reactions to the death of Robin Hood, so that's fun, as well as Dan implementing a lot of Fast and Furious stories, because Dan loves to do that, loves to talk about it, but I'll let him have it. It's fine. And then we got more TV talk terror, more Doctor Who talk, a little bit more Mobland talk, and a little bit of the Paramount WB deal, because everyone loves talking about that, right? And then quick hits, tons of quick hits today, lots and lots of quick hits. That's probably the most we have today is quick hits, but hey, we'll try to be quick this time around, and we'll have a fun time with those. And then finally, DCU news, DCU Daily, with Lanterns, Batman 2, What Did Gunn Say? And of course, more for the Summer of Supergirl. Obviously, that is almost 2 weeks away. So get pumped for that. So we're going to be talking about it even more so than we've already have been. So more Summer of Supergirl, more Supergirl this, more Supergirl that. So Supergirl, of course, with a tiny bit of Lobo. But until then, let's Ryan Gosling tell us that we are indeed Knuff and get into the show proper.
It doesn't seem to matter what I do. Number two.
All right, mister, I need to paint my abs on to get nominated. You don't see Robert Downey doing that.
You're kidding. You're kidding. I can't open the envelope without the...
Warner Brothers is heading back into the Matrix with a new movie in the works.
Wonder what other surprises are in store.
I want to be Bruce Wayne.
I like that. You're gonna love me.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see chorus.
Right there.
You look ridiculous.
Well, not no more, he don't.
What, dude? I can barely understand you. Your accent's insane.
What the world needs now.
Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Wow.
There we are. Yeah, we go. Hello, welcome to the show. I am the host for today, John. Thank you for joining us. And I'm not alone. Dan, his beautiful face is unfortunately stuck like that, but, well, he's gonna...
hello.
There he is!
Hey.
You were black for a second. Okay, that came out wrong.
What?
You were black
What?
screen for a second. You had a black screen for a second, so I was worried that your camera wasn't working. No, you're good. You're good. You're good. We're good. It's fine. Well, you know what else is really good? Monique's dinner, once again. Just God. Like, okay, here's the thing. I am not ever for doxing people. However, I want to dox Monique just so I could be like, hey, can I grab a plate? Just, like, show up. Like, I swear I'm not going to do anything. I just want a plate. That's all I want. That's all I want. I'm just saying. Anyway,
hello,
Monique, don't worry. I would never dox you. I'm just saying you have delicious meals that I would like to partake in. So,
Hey, M2G.
I'm just saying. Also, yes, indeed, it's Disclosure Day. Nice. That's fair. I mean, we were all trying. You still tried a little bit of it. That's fine. I mean, I had, honestly, I kind of want to get that Supergirl ice cream again. That was like, That was fucking good, bro. Like, I kind of want, like, a quart of it. Like, that shit was good. I didn't even get any extra fixins on it. Like, that was just good. But, like, I didn't add, like, any of my own toppings. I just had it by itself, and it was still fucking good, bro. Like, I feel bad for Cold Stone Creamery because I don't even know how the fuck they're still open because I don't see a single soul in that goddamn store. Maybe it's a money laundering scheme. I don't know. But, like, they have good, because, I mean, the reason it's called Creamery, they got creamy ice cream, and it is fucking delicious. So, damn. But, you know, it's still good. Support your local Cold Stone Creamery because, you know, they got good shit. I should go there more often.
I mean, people come in bunches, and then you'll have, like, so it's ups and downs, I feel like. It's not like Dairy Queen, you got lines out the door, you know? So.
Yeah. But you know what will have lines out the door, Dan? Spider-Man Brand New Day. Segue. Boom. There we go. Because apparently, more about leaked trailers. I don't think anything else was leaked. I think we just have a breakdown. Nothing else got leaked just yet. So, you know, we're just going to talk about...
It's just a good way to kind of go through everything that is in the trailer in case you guys haven't seen or didn't get to any of the leaked videos.
So we did talk a little bit about this yesterday, how, you know, we are finally getting Spider-Man versus Scorpion. It took them fucking, you know, almost a decade for us to get to this point. 9 years for us to finally get this. It's like, guys, you had Nacho from Better Call Saul, and you don't use him until now. That's on you, bro. Like, get the fuck out of here. Come on now. But apparently we do get a Spider-Man versus Scorpion fight, which should be obvious. But the opening to the leaked trailer shows Spider-Man making short work of the villain. In fact, the black-eyed Peter Parker makes short work of the Scorpion, suggesting their rematch will be relatively brief and that he won't pose much of a threat to the hero, which is kind of a shame. But, like, it's just so weird to me. It's just so fucking bonkers to me that they're like, oh, hey, we're finally doing Scorpion. We have a relatively great actor for the role who's not terribly famous, so we don't have to, like, pay him trillions of dollars. And it's like, oh, yeah, let's just shit him out so the real villain we can have is Jean Grey. Like, make it make sense. But... It's just Scorpion is such a great villain, especially with what his backstory is in the comics, which is essentially, I believe it was J. Jonah Jameson, like, funding, like, this anti-Spider-Man, like experiment, which, you know, Matt Gargan eventually becomes a part of. So it's just kind of, I feel like it's a little bit ridiculous that, like, oh, they're just kind of, you know, meh-ing him a bit.
Yeah, look,
But if they're setting him up for Venom, then maybe. But it's a shame that we finally get Scorpion in a fucking movie, and it's just like, nah.
I mean, look, for what it's worth, for me, I don't have that much of an attachment to the character. I never thought that Scorpion was going to have a significant role in this movie.
I didn't think he would have a significant role either, but a 3-minute fight? That sounds kind of lame.
But it's also, like, again, like, it's edited for the trailer, right? So, like, it's probably going to be longer than that. And so basically, what I'm thinking is the Scorpion could have a supporting villain role. He's not, like, the lead villain, but he's one of... Like, he's not going to be, like, a part of a montage, like a lot of the Boomerang and those guys will be, which clearly looks like that happens in the beginning of the movie. Oh, Spider-Man's just being Spider-Man. And he's, you know, going to be knocking out a bunch of dudes that were villains in the comics, but we only get to see them for, like, a few shots. Scorpion will probably have a slightly bigger role to play, but, I mean, he's going to be a secondary villain, and that's fine by me. I don't know if Michael Mando or whoever it would be in the role. It's just... Let's just be honest, like, this movie's got bigger fish to fry. Like, if that means we get the Hulk versus Spider-Man fight, then I'm all for it. Hello, Movie Spud. Oh, by the way, guys, if you are watching live, or even if you're watching after we are live, we have the link to the Mount Rushmore Monday poll in the chat. It's also in the description down below. So, those are the topics. You get to vote on the topics. Then whichever topic wins, we will ask you for your picks for that topic, and then, you know, over the weekend you can give us those, and then Monday, we'll have a Mount Rushmore Monday segment. So we'll have our picks. We'll pick out some of the ones that you sent us, like we did this past Monday. So we're trying this new thing, you know. Since we do Tier List Tuesday and Fancast Friday. Why not Mount Rushmore Mondays? So, but it will be part of DCU Daily. It's not another separate show. It's just it's a part of DCU Daily for now. So, but anyway, John, let's continue. What else could we glean from that leaked trailer that Sony may
we
or
got
may not
organic
be
webbing,
for?
which is pretty obvious. That's like kind of the key point to all this. And who the fuck drew Peter's hand here? Like, goddamn, looks like
Isn't that maybe the guy who was infamous for drawing that Deadpool or what's one?
Oh, Rob Liefeld. No,
yeah,
Rob Liefeld. I don't
Liefeld.
think Rob Liefeld ever drew Spider-Man, but yeah, it's just like his hand looks normal here, and then it looks like his hand got bit by a bee here or something. But yeah, so we do have organic webbing, which is pretty much a key plot point of the movie. Then allegedly we have Jean Grey. I mean, it's still relatively up in the air, but it's just more and more likely as the days go on that it's probably Jean Grey.
I mean, spoiler alert, there's a shot in the trailer where she freezes people all across the city. There's like this wave. So I'm like, very powerful mutant. It kind of adds up, Sausage Finger sounds sausage, you mean, never mind. You were talking about the photo. Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
But yeah, it's I mean that it might be the case here. So we got Spider-Man versus Hulk. We got a little bit in that leaked trailer. The Hulk does the thunderclap.
I've seen the images make the rounds now. Honestly, it's kind of fun to see that they've all also aged up the look of the Hulk. He's gonna have more of the gray hair. He's gonna look more like the older Bruce Banner, which I appreciate the continuity of that, because it's not like, no matter what age he is when he turns into the Hulk, he's like, peak prime era Hulk. Like they've been, evolving the look of the Hulk as well, which is good to see. But yeah, John, at one point they're both like falling like down from a skyscraper, and I think the speculation is that Sadie Sink's character causes like Smart Hulk to kind of break out into, Savage Hulk. And, that device kind of ultimately fails. That's keeping him intact and not turning into a Hulk. So it will be interesting to see how it all plays out. But again, it's looking like it's going to be Jean Grey, John.
Yeah. But yeah, so we have Spider-Man vs. the Hulk, which looks cool. We got the Punisher, which seemed like was going to be a much smaller role, but now it seems like, he's going to have a way bigger role, which is definitely interesting. I'm not like mad or saddened by this fact, because I love John Bernthal and I love the Punisher. Not in that way. I think he's an intriguing character, but he's not a role model. I don't like him like that. I'm just saying he's very intriguing, even though he is, a human piece of garbage. But that's the point, even though, cops don't seem to understand that. But anyway, so yeah, Punisher seems to be having like a big role. I mean, it seems like he's taking care of MJ with, because like, Spider-Man's like, hey, you're in danger. Here, you're going to be protected by the angriest man in New York, so have fun. Hello.
It does look like also, John, in that trailer, again, spoiler alert for whoever hasn't seen the leaked trailer. At one point, I think Peter asks, by the way, this is Cricket. This is not Georgie. At one point, I think Peter asked Punisher to take care of MJ asks Punisher to take care of Spider-Man. And so, I mean, it looks like Punisher will have a more significant role in the movie than maybe we anticipated. I would love to see if he can get some armor on him that's not just a bulletproof vest. Maybe some of the War Machine stuff that maybe the Department of Damage Control might have a hold of. Uh-oh. I had a cat almost fall off and treats went everywhere. Anyway, let's keep going.
And then finally we got the hand. We got the Ninja Assassins. We have that whole prison sequence that was shown a little bit in the main trailer, but then shown a lot of it in the, in the leak trailer. So yeah, I think,
this is interesting though, because John, one thing that if you look at again without showing the actual thing, because it's been taken down, so we don't want to have Sony give us a copyright notice. There is a shot in that new trailer where the Hand are fighting Spider-Man, which kind of looks similar to the shot where they're fighting him on the rooftop in the teaser trailer, but in this leak trailer, they're doing it in the prison. So people are speculating that they just kind of comp them out of the prison and put them on the rooftop to kind of throw people off. And in the movie, it's actually going to be mostly focused on the prison scene, which you see there's other stuff going on there too. So, oh, I know figure drawing, by the way. Hello. Yes, the treats are literally everywhere, and I'm not even going to bother. So they can help themselves to it. It's all on the floor. Yeah, he's okay. He's all right. Cricket's okay. But anyway, I thought that was interesting because, you know, Elektra and Daredevil, spoiler alert, are in prison these days in the MCU. So hopefully that will be the cameo we're looking for. So cool. I mean, again, I feel like there's been 4, 5, maybe a dozen, half a dozen leaks of this trailer since the weekend. So the speculation is they're going to release it next week. We'll see. Next Wednesday specifically. So, yeah.
Yeah. Now we move on to Doom. Our Avengers Doomsday Secret Wars
really
repeating
quickly.
Infinity War and Endgame's formula.
Up
Should we worry?
Okay, so this is a good article. I mean, look, this is a really good article to, like, if you read through, just in general, asking questions and making some good points. We don't need to read through the whole thing. If you could just go to the very top of the article, and I just wanted to kind of like run through a few things. So this article poses a couple of questions. The basis of it is that the Russo brothers, because here's the thing, this kind of depends on how much you have, like, and you guys watching, you know, John as well, how much you have read into the rumors around the plot of Avengers Doomsday, and then therefore the plot of potentially Avengers Secret Wars. But if you have read into those rumors, then the general outline seems to be that the X-Men universe, the Fantastic Four universe, and the MCU timeline universe with the Avengers are going to be on an incursion collision course. And Doom is from the Fantastic Four reality, and he, like, tries to, you know, rally the troops in the beginning to, like, fix everything. And then at some point, depending on which version of the rumors you believe, something happens where the heroes figure out that Doom is actually trying to make the incursions happen, and how he goes about doing that depends on which version of the rumors there are. And then eventually, by the end of the movie, what happens is the final incursion happens, and we end up in Battle World with Doom being in charge, which would nicely set up the events of Secret Wars. Right, and then you get to go Secret Wars, and then you resolve things from there. But if you notice something, John, that has a striking similarity to kind of like, and again, it's striking in the sense that, you know, over like story structure and some, you know, particular beats, where you listen to that story outline, and then you compare it to Avengers Endgame, where Thanos wins at the end, and heroes get, like, you know, snapped out of existence, or half of them. And then Thanos is like, they have to do a whole time travel thing to, like, restore everything. And in the second movie, in that case, it was Endgame. Do you feel like the Russo brothers coming back, they're just like, they're not just back to, like RDJ was saying, we're just going to wipe the slate clean and, like, start over because we can't replicate the success of Doomsday and, Endgame and, you know, Infinity War. But, like, I feel like that's exactly what Marvel's trying to do. They're like, that formula, those set of directors, do it with Doomsday and Secret Wars. Like, because in a lot of ways, I'm not saying it invented story structure, but I'm just saying it's the idea of, okay, new villain, you introduce the villain, he wins at the end of the first movie, and in the second movie, the heroes have to, like, fix the problem. It could still very much work, and, you know, the movies will make a shit ton of money, but, like, my concern is, like, is it gonna feel like it's only, again, like Infinity War and Endgame paid off 20 movies worth of stories. This doesn't have the same level of, like, build up, because everything has been sort of scatter plot since Endgame, and in some ways the Russo brothers are kind of just, like, jumping over and skipping a lot of that stuff anyway, because they're like, we're just gonna go back to Steve Rogers and where we left him last time we were directing a movie. So no, I hear you, figure drawing. I'm not trying to, like, attack. We're making a point. I mean, John, well, how do you look at that? Because, like, to me, it's about, like, the idea of, like, you know, are they taking creative risks? Are they actually trying to, like, move the ball forward? Or does this feel more like, a lot of cameos, a lot of nostalgia bait like Deadpool and Wolverine, which made for a good movie, enjoyable film for a lot of people. It made $1 billion and $1.3 billion. But it's like, 5-10 years down the road, it will feel like more empty calories because maybe, for future generations who didn't grow up with it, won't have the same level of nostalgia for it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. I mean, I think that's what it is for most of, like, the MCU at this point. Like, I don't think anything past, like, phase 1, 2, maybe 3 is going to be remember fondly. Like, it's because everyone talks about nowadays the people who grew up with it, the people saw it in the theater 17 times, the people who know these characters, they're like, oh yeah, the Infinity War and Endgame, they're the greatest movies ever made, they're the greatest superhero movies ever made. But I'm like, hold that thought. Let's wait 30 years and see what people are saying with that. I mean, if we're still here 30 years from now. Because it's like, is it going to have the timeless value of something like Superman? Like something like Batman 89? Like, like all those kind of movies. Like Blade. Blade is... Yeah. That is a movie that is about almost 30 years old now, and it's still, for the most part, has stood the test of time. It's very 90s in its approach, and there are some things that are very dated, but for the most part, that is a very good movie, and it has, for the most part, stood the test of time. People look back on that like, oh, it's a bit of a classic, but now it's just like, I think there are intervals of, like, how hindsight works when it comes to movies, is because you do have like I want to say the 20-year mark, maybe the 20 to, let's say 25 years, the quarter century mark, where it's like people are looking back, they look upon it fondly, they look upon it with a nostalgic glint in their eye. That's what I assume happened in 2003 when people were looking back on Superman. And now Superman is almost 50 years old now, and people are still looking back on that. They're like, oh shit, this movie is going to stand the test of time. This movie is as great as when it first came out, and it will be remembered long after the generations that saw it in a theater initially in that 1978 run. So I don't think that will be the case for the vast majority of the MCU. I'm maybe that's just me being a cynical asshole, but I just think I'm looking at these movies and I'm like, if you pluck one of these movies out of the MCU, if you pluck Infinity War, and if you watch it without the context, without the world, without anything behind it, is it going to stand the test of time? No, it's not. I can assure you it's not. 25 years from now, which is, we're going to be in the 2030s, 2040s, and if you look about that, people might look back upon it fondly, but 50 years from now, I don't think it's going to be remembered, because, like, you're going to have all these new kids, all these newer people that didn't go see it, that didn't go see it in that early, theater experience, and they're like, oh, what the fuck is this? What is this? Who is this person? What's going on? Like, why does this matter? And then it's just like, oh, okay, that's all it is. So I swear I have a point. It's so when you're essentially going back to that thing, you're essentially tying this thing to that thing, and it's like, as you said, it is nostalgia bait, 100%, because that was the last time that the MCU was at its peak, was like 2018 to 2019. You had $3 billion hits in a row. You had four. Sorry, I keep forgetting Captain Marvel exists. I apologize. Well, I don't really apologize. It's kind of a shitty movie, but you had Infinity War, you had Black Panther, you had Infinity War, you had Captain Marvel, a character like nobody gave a fuck about and nobody even really liked at the time, and yet that movie still made $1 billion fucking dollars just because it was MCU and just because people thought it would connect to Endgame. It didn't, but still, it still made a fucking $1 billion. Yeah, well, so you had $4 billion. And then if we're going to Endgame, which was $2 billion in a fucking row, that was Marvel at its very peak. And they're trying to get back to that. They want that money. They want their golden goose again.
They've
and
only
they
had
are
two
trying
films.
to catch lightning in a bottle twice. And sorry, I don't think that... Sure, are they going to get their billions? But it's not going to be remembered fondly, and people are... But it's just... It depends on how it's going to work. Is this going to make $1 billion?
Yeah.
Probably. Is this going to make $2 billion? Maybe. But, like, one, that doesn't stand for quality, and two... It's just like it's just they're just trying to go back to that. That's essentially what that is essentially what the Russo brothers are saying to us and have been saying is like we're gonna go back to that, not for any other fucking reason other than that's when Marvel was last on top, peak successful. That's literally, they're not doing it for story reasons. They're not doing it for character driven reasons. They're doing it because Kevin Feige said, you two motherfuckers made me $4 billion in 2 years. Do it again. So you know what? That's what they're fucking doing. And they are going for every lowest common denominator, every cheap shot, every nostalgia little fucking bit imaginable. We're bringing back Fox. We're bringing back Steve Rogers. We're bringing back fucking RDJ as Doom. We're going to have this character. We're going to have this plot line. We're going to have this. We're going to have this. We're going to have that. Only... It's like that meme with Walter White drip dropping into the test tubes. It's like, this is Kevin Feige and the Russo brothers experimenting, trying to perfect the formula so that they fucking get $5 billion from these two fucking movies. And that's it. They couldn't give less of a flying fuck about what you think on Rotten Tomatoes, on IMDb, on Letterboxd, on anything. They're gonna get the fucking $4 billion because you're a fucking sucker. And you know what? Frankly, they fucking deserve it at this point. If they can get the fucking suckers and saps to fall for this garbage, then frankly, take your $4 billion. Will you be remembered for the test of time? Not like they fucking care. They just want the money. And you know what? They're going to get the money. Show me the money. And guess what? All the fucking dumbasses are going to give them their money. Because we live in a society.
Well, here's the thing. You're not wrong in a lot of what you're saying. What I was going to get back to some of the points like what you guys were making in the chat. Look, these Marvel movies, they're more of a commercial enterprise. They've always been more of a commercial enterprise than for artistic endeavor. You want to try to walk the line. I think you're muted, John.
Yeah, I want to clarify with what I meant for $1 to $2 billion per movie, because I meant $4 to $5 billion with like Doomsday and Secret Wars together. That's what I was. That's what I meant. So $1 to $2 billion for each movie, $4 to $5 billion for total movies. Yeah. Anyway, that's what I meant by that.
No, I mean fair. And then look, like for example, you mentioned they had 4 in a row. Since then, since Endgame, they've only had $2 billion movies. Shang-Chi was probably, in my opinion, the best one in that time, but wasn't a $1 billion movie. I think it was, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness almost got there.
Almost made $1 billion.
Deadpool and Wolverine made $1 billion.
And then No Way Home made $2 billion. Did it make $2 billion? I don't know.
Actually, you know what? No, then there were 3 because both of the Spider-Man movies that came out after Endgame made $1 billion. And it made 1.9.
Did Far From Home make $1 billion?
Yeah. All 3. Well, yeah, the second and the third one both did. Yes, the first one made like 800 something. Homecoming.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I didn't know if Far From Home reached that point, but yeah.
Right. Now the thing is, what I was trying to get at is this. There's a couple of things, and to Marvel's credit, they know that nostalgia bit works really well. Now, nostalgia bit doesn't always work. Like, in some ways, like obviously, Michael Keaton's Batman couldn't save the Flash movie, right? But then there's other examples where obviously it works really well. I think Deadpool and Wolverine is a perfect example where you're telling a story that is a very meta story. So like, because of how meta the story is, you can really get away with those cameos a lot, even more so. And, they framed it as yet another send off to the X-Men, which feels a little weird because now they're bringing a lot of those guys back again. But you know, they were always going to do that for Secret Wars anyway. That being said, I was going to make a few other points that I feel are relevant to what we were talking about, in the sense that if they are indeed repeating the same formula more or less, like you know, let's run let's run it back. I mean, again, there's, you know, the characters are slightly different, but the plot mechanics are very similar. Even though the storytelling is going to feel different because, you know, it's multiversal story versus it was, you know, the Infinity Stones. What I was trying to get at is this: we are currently in an era where people are more discerning than ever about their superhero movies because they're not as novel anymore. So people want you to really give them a reason to go see a superhero movie. Now, that being said, the Avengers still is like a big event film, so people don't want to like miss out on the conversations because they didn't see the movie. Like, we don't have water cooler talk anymore, but the, you know, whatever the current equivalent of that is, social media, you know, chat and you know, group chats and whatnot. You want to be in on the conversations. You want to know what's going on. You want to be, you know, want to experience that together. So if it, on that level, like, no matter what the Avengers movie was about, they were going to show up, whether it was the Kang Dynasty or whether it is Avengers Doomsday. And when you combine that with the kind of flash, you know, the nostalgia stuff with all the cameos and bringing back, you know, these iterations of characters and hopefully finally sending them off for good, it's again, financially it will work, right? But my question is it ultimately going to be more of what I feel like Marvel's been suffering for a while with some of the multiverse stuff, which is you get a lot of short-term gain for a lot of long-term pain. And like, think of it this way, right? Like, you really love going to, I don't know, let's say Popeyes. I'm just throwing it out there because we've been talking about chicken with Supergirl a lot. But no, I hear you, Monique. I'm just saying it didn't save the Flash movie. Like, the Batman, he was great in the movie, but it didn't end up like helping the movie make.
I wouldn't say great, but you know.
No, but whatever. But like, again, we're not trying to go down that road. I just wanted to address what Monique said. And hi, Patrick. What I'm trying to say is, like, okay, let's say with short-term gain for long-term pain, because I feel like Marvel has been struggling with that for a while because they've been doing all these multiverse things where you usually end up, I think Multiverse of Madness was the only movie where they genuinely had, you know, other universes that didn't simply have all, you know, previous iterations of Marvel characters coming back, although they had that, you know, but they had also other versions of, like, you know, Doctor Strange with Benedict Cumberbatch playing the same character or a different version of it, and stuff, and like some other fun variations. But it's this idea of, like, if you really love Popeyes, and you just want to go on a binge eat a shit ton of Popeyes, you're gonna feel great because you love Popeyes. It tastes delicious. But then what you're signing up for is a lot of long-term pain, whether it's like digestive issues, you know, other chronic illnesses, stuff like that. That's what I'm trying to say, because with Marvel, what they've been doing recently is a lot of that with any of those big multiversal projects. Where Marvel has worked the best is the kind of stuff like Figuring was saying, oh, what about people who are saying Marvel is cooking right now? Well, things worked really well for Wonder Man because Wonder Man had none of those things going for it. Like, yes, it brought back Trevor Slattery, but as far as like where that story went, we got to see Trevor Slattery go from, for the first time, even despite what his performance in Shang-Chi, or, you know, I should say his appearance in Shang-Chi, because, like, you know, why am I forgetting? Sir Ben Kingsley's has always been a great, you know, performer, and he's always gives an amazing performance. But the character of Travis Slattery, even through Shang-Chi, and even he was just a caricature, like. But the show developed him into a relatable person. We got to learn a bit more about it, the fact that he had a mom, and how much, like, he as an actor was influenced by, you know, his mom, and like wanting to prove himself and all those things. And then you get to meet Simon. It's original. Wonder Man is original. Wonder Man, it may not be like something you've never seen before, but it felt like a breath of fresh air, and that's why it worked really well. Daredevil Born Again feels like it's continuing and moving. It's not just like, oh, let's bring back the nostalgia bit people. When they're bringing them back, they're then developing them and moving forward. They're not like reliving, like nostalgia bit is stuff where you're reliving, you know, your glory days, or you're bringing back, you know, Professor X with Patrick Stewart in the role for the 50,000th time. And yeah, I mean, that becomes like problematic, because then you're just getting the short-term hits but you're going to suffer for it in the long term because you're not setting things up for the future. If Tony was there, I could talk about like professional wrestling, about how if you just kept on giving your old guys all the opportunities and the big matches and the championships, and you don't develop young talent, or in any sporting context, you eventually end up in a situation where you're going to end up with a hollow core, and then, you know, you don't have a team, or you don't have, you know, a set of athletes that can carry the load for your show, for your franchise, for your league. And I feel like Marvel has had that problem for some time, and it's like it's not like they're doing everything wrong, but you combine that with the fact that right now people are very discerning about what they go to see. Like James Gunn and the DCU is working really well because they're doing a lot of that. Like everything they're doing feels fresh and new and different. And that's on purpose. Like James Gunn has done that on purpose. I mean, I'm not saying everything has been perfect so far, but by and large, like between Superman and now upcoming Supergirl, and then you got Clayface coming out later this year. And whether you like it or not, that Lantern show looks different than any other iteration of Lanterns we've ever gotten. So you know, WandaVision was a great example of doing something new and original, right? So I'm not saying they haven't done anything, you know, they have anything good. Like Miss Marvel was great, WandaVision was great. I thought Moon Knight was overall pretty good, and it just still had the same thing of like the final episode became a CGI fight fest. But again, Wonder Man is an example of where they've learned that lesson. So it's just that with these big movies, it feels like they're going back in that direction where, again, like Avengers Endgame and Infinity War should have set up the multiverse saga, but they more or less ended up being like a period, you know, final stamp, close the letter, mail it, and then walk away. You know, if they had stopped working on the MCU, then everybody would be fine because they paid off all the loose threads. But they did set up a few things for the future, like Loki and stuff, and Loki was great. Again, it was different and original. It felt like a breath of fresh air. So today it just feels like with what they're doing with Doomsday and Secret Wars, based on what we know so far. So again, we could be wrong because we, you know, maybe the information is suspect of what the rumors are out there. But like, we all want to go see some good popcorn movies, figure drawing. But what I worry about is if they're not going to set up the future, because if the story, for example, is going to focus heavily on Thor, the return of Steve Rogers, and how it all intersects with RDJ playing Doctor Doom, then that's exactly the kind of problem. You know what I mean? It's like you got your old guys front and center. How much screen time and how much story time is Shang-Chi gonna get? He could still get 2 more movies in a trilogy. What about the Fantastic Four? Reed Richards is meant to be like the arch nemesis of Doctor Doom, not Steve Rogers. So I think it's like predictable and safe is one thing, but I feel like this just feel like it just, again, we're taking a bit of a negative tone here, so it could completely pay off and none of this could matter down the road. But I'm not trying to like pray for the downfall of these movies. I'm just looking at it and thinking, it all feels a little too familiar, and it just feels like, sure, they're gonna make money with this, but it's like eventually the shtick gets old, you know. And I just worry that with the MCU and how it's been very scattered, you know, scattered over the last few years, they're making moves to change track. I just hope that, you know, with Doomsday and Secret Wars, it doesn't feel like it's just a lot of nostalgia and meeting old characters again. And let's be honest, like, if this was James Gunn doing it, I would trust him more because he's got a track record for doing, you know, something great even when he's given the same pieces that he's played with 20,000 times before. So, and being able to create something new out of it. Whereas the Russo brothers, John, Electric State, whatever that Chris
Gray Man.
The Gray Man, that's what I was thinking of. The Gray Man, the Electric State. They did that the show that's on Amazon Prime with Priyanka Chopra and stuff, which just came back for season 2. Citadel, which is the most over like budget show of all time. And whatever else, like, I don't even know, like, I can't even think of anything else that they've done. And to be honest, most of those things weren't good. So, but they work well in Marvel because you know, it seems to work well with Kevin Feige. I'm just saying it kind of feels very familiar, and maybe the formula is a little worn out. And I'm sure the nostalgia and just seeing those, you know, the same actors and characters come back and interact in these ways is going to, you know, scratch the itch that fans have been waiting for. I'm just hoping that, you know, if that is indeed the case, that from here on, or from then on, once Secret Wars is out and done with, that, you know, we do get like more Shang-Chi, that, you know, that the Fantastic Four do get more of their due, like, you know, and or we build out the X-Men the right way, which I'm sure Marvel has all the plans in the world for it, because like these movies, like you were saying, feel a little short-sighted in terms of what these Avengers movies are becoming. Very safe creatively, it feels like, but yeah, I mean, nostalgia is a hell of a drug, but ask Star Wars fans that. I think they got tired of seeing the same, plot beats again and again and again. Somehow Palpatine returned, I'm not saying we're there yet, and I don't think Marvel's going to give us that, but yeah, I this has obviously gone in a very negative direction. I still hope that the movies surprise us. It just feels predictable, it just feels really predictable, and that's unfortunate because it felt like we were breaking new ground with every Marvel movie, and like by the time we got to Phase 3,
broke new ground.
And like Marvel movies used to be like what you said about standing by themselves. Like think about this, like those early Marvel movies did stand on their own. Like you go watch the first Thor movie today, it works by itself. Even the second one kind of works by itself, or like as a trilogy they work together. Or certainly those Iron Man movies, like those Iron Man movies had a weird timeline because like the first one happened before the first Avengers movie, the second one happened before the first Avengers movie, then the third one happened after the Avengers movie. So it's kind of weird because the third movie really ties Tony's character arc into the events of the Avengers. But yeah, like the first Ant-Man movie could really just stand by on its own, which Kevin Feige loves the original Superman movie, so he knows like how to approach a great origin story for a hero. But we haven't really gotten many of those lately. Like I feel like most of the heroes they've recently introduced have been on TV, like Wonder Man, for example, or Miss Marvel. Like we've been getting a lot of we got the Fantastic Four, but even that is like a team film. And I remember when I felt like the DCEU was a little doomed because every other movie they were putting out was a team up movie, whether it was Justice League or Suicide Squad, and then the Suicide Squad, which different story. But I just want to see more new characters being given their time to shine, and not trying to like jump to the next big crossover. Just build from from the ground up like they did the first time around. That's all. But anyway, I digress. Well, they will have lightsabers in next year's Star Wars movie, so we know that, MTG. But anyway, on that note, I think we should move on.
Yeah. Anyway,
what do we got?
Jump Street.
Hey,
I'm excited to talk about that.
What happened to 23 Jump Street, John? What happened to 23 Jump Street? Because like this is it's kind of like, to me, as if, I mean, I don't know if anybody was gonna get this reference, but I remember telling you like how there's this Indian superhero movie series where they made like the Koi Mil Gaya, which was like I've talked about the other day in my Mount Rushmore. It was like the AT equivalent. That's like the first movie in the series. The second movie they just called Krish because like apparently the son of the character from the first movie is basically a superhero because he got powers from the alien. And then after Krish, they made Krish 3, not Krish 2, because technically it's the third movie in the series, but people are a little confused because they went from Krish to Krish 3, and there wasn't a Krish 2. Now, 23 Jump Street, I don't know what happened to 23 Jump Street, John. They're going to go from 22 to 24. My question is, do you think it's because those 23 Jump Street condominiums never got built, or there's just not enough room for them to like set up shop there, and maybe they just need to move back across the street to another church instead of the Korean Vietnamese Jesus? Maybe there's going to be, I don't know, a Philippine Jesus in a church on 24 Jump Street. Like it's kind of crazy to think about. I'm like, maybe it's the whole meta nature of like how these movies work, that they'll just like loop that into how it all works out in the film. But yeah, 24 Jump Street. I was reading this article and then I found the link because speaking of the producer that for the longest time probably helped keep us away from a 23 Jump Street to the point where we're not getting one. We're getting 24 Jump Street. Neil H. Moritz, who I believe is also involved in the
fucking
franchise.
asshole that Channing Tatum called out for being fucking greedy, and the reason this movie hasn't been made for the past 12 fucking years. So,
well, that guy, he actually posted the cover page of the script on his Instagram account, which I think we have. If you want to put that up on screen.
Yep.
And that might actually finally give us the explanation because it shows us the title 24 Jump Street. And if you can zoom into this, we can take a look at the tagline under the logo 24 Jump Street. And it says right there, it took so long to make. It took so long to make. We had to skip one. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, yes, he does produce Fast and Furious movies. Neil Moritz. So between the Fast and Furious and the Jump Street movies, there's a bit of a crossover. But yeah, John, I guess it means they're gonna build it into the story of the film. 24 Jump Street. It took too long. We had to skip one, which lines up well with like all the meta commentary in the second movie. You know, it's like everybody thinks the second.
Man, there was a lot of expensive stuff in there.
They're just, yeah, yep. I'm wearing $200 shoes and you can't even see the motherfuckers. It's like, okay, yeah. Get a glass office. And what else?
Like a giant cube of ice.
Yeah. Everything the second time around is going to be even better. You give them more money. There's more money, more problems. It's all the stuff. Yeah. I need to watch that. I need to just watch it again. 22 Jump Street, that is. Anyway.
I guess
it's
we know
funny
because I think I watched 21 Jump Street once, maybe twice, but I've seen like 22 Jump Street like
I know
10 times. Like,
I know.
It's just...
I've seen the first one like 3 times, but definitely seen the second one like 12, 13. I don't know how many times. It's just so much more fun. I feel like the first one was a fun movie. The second one is just like it's a rare sequel that actually like really elevates, you know, itself from the first film.
Because I think the meta commentary of it just made it so much better. The only thing I hate about the movie is the stupid poetry slam scene. Like, I know everybody loves that scene. I hate it. It's so
poetry. I love it.
It's
Cynthia.
It's not even like comedy of errors or anything like that. It's just bad.
Cynthia
it's just not
died.
good comedy.
Jesus
it's not
Christ.
funny. But it's considering it's Jonah Hill by himself, that makes sense because Jonah Hill fucking sucks. But like, you know.
You know what? Like I love that movie. It's like the part where they're like tripping on Wi-Fi. I hope the comedy still works well. It's just been so long. It's what,
when
been,
did I get
12 years?
Stabbed? That's awesome.
I DJ miss.
No, it wasn't so bad. It was funny. It was just so bad. It was bad. Like that's essentially what that scene was. Everything else.
Oh my god, you got shot in the arm again.
It's just like, I like fruit. Do you like fruit? Slams it on his plate.
You know the meat cute? I was like, meat cute, because like he's got like his Q-tip and his meat. Like it's like, oh, meat cute. I'm like, oh god, like I had my head in my hands. Oh, this is great. Like speaking of like Wyatt Russell, like holy crap, that really makes you wonder. Like it's like, oh
we're
my
like
god, it's
Batman and Robin, but we're both Batman.
Batman. Yeah. Oh, dude, I heard like, you know, Wi-Fi is everywhere on campus. Don't you mean like the Wi-Fi, like the internet? It's like, oh, stupid, dumb motherfuckers. Anyway, dude, you shot my dick. Oh, and then also speaking of Dave Franco, I can't wait to see what's happened to him, if he's still in jail, or
I would assume he's still in jail. I assume him and Rob Riggle are still in prison.
Oh my god, your new office is like a cube of ice.
I could have went to Berkeley.
Work.
I'm Eric's bitch. No, you're not. I have a vagina now. No, you don't.
Yep.
Yes, I do. Yep. You own the sense.
Hey, Underriggy, how you doing, man?
I gotta.
You know what it is? I have a theory. I might watch it after the show. I have a theory, John. I think they're gonna take the meta commentary to the next level. They're gonna make 24 Jump Street, and then they're gonna make a 23 Jump Street, just so they can fill in the gaps and give us unnecessary explanations to things that we did not need, like Solo and those other kind of like movies that go back and give you like a prequel. I feel like that's the way they're gonna go about this. That's my, like, oh my god, it's the Terminator. The villain was the most campy, best villain. Oh, back in the 90s. It's great. Jump Street, we're about to jump in your ass.
Yeah.
Right in the crack.
Right in the crack.
Yeah. Yep. I don't get the Jonah Hill hate for the record. I feel like he's he's a good actor. He was a fun part of the movie. I don't understand why people hate Jonah Hill.
The thing is about Jonah Hill is that he's like, I don't think he's the funniest guy ever. It's like these are like one of the few exceptions of like this is where I like
That's
Jonah
true.
Hill.
But I'm
And
like,
then
but
on
I
top
don't
of
like
that,
exactly like live on Jonah Hill movies, so I don't care
pretty
like,
much
about the ones that don't want.
very well known that he is a huge asshole. Like he treats
I thought he was
people
just
like
socially
shit.
awkward. Like he was just
No, like it's
okay.
known that he like kind of treats people like shit on set, and he's kind of has a bit of an ego to him, and that's just from what I've heard from what other people have talked to him about him, like on set specifically. Is that I think in interviews he comes off as like kind of awkward. It's just like I think it's just like he doesn't like doing press, and like he kind of he's like relatable, but like I'm pretty sure most people like who have worked with him on set, like he's pretty much a dickhead. I think the only time where he wasn't was like when he was on Wolf of Wall Street, only because he really wanted to work with Martin Scorsese. So I think his ego was kind of kept in check there. But
that makes sense.
He's pretty much known for being a jerk. Yeah.
Okay. Well, fair enough. You know what? 24 Jump Street. It took so long we had to skip one. That's the explanation for why 23 Jump Street doesn't exist. Yeah, you know what? That could be it, M2G. The 23 Jump Street will be the movie when they go undercover on themselves in 24 Jump Street. And, you know, Seth Rogen comes in because...
what contract
Jonah Hill's... What contract is He's like, Janko... Like, what do you call him? He's like...
Yeah. All right, I'm ready as ever, Jenkins. It's Jenkins? Yeah, whatever.
That's whatever I said. Is that what I said? What contract dispute? Like, I know what you're talking about. It's great. Okay.
Yeah, cool. that was a big thing where Christopher Mintz-Plasse, he like literally he designed it so like because when Christopher Mintz-Plasse was auditioning for Superbad, like for some fucking reason Jonah Hill just immediately fucking hated the dude. Like he was like, fuck this guy, we can't cast him, he's a piece of shit, fuck this guy. Yet literally everyone else was like, no, he's awesome, go fuck yourself. So
I don't understand.
They cast him as McLovin. And it's funny, and I think it's because like as Figure Drawing said, Christopher Mintz-Plasse is way fucking funnier than Jonah Hill, especially in Neighbors. That was another case of where Christopher Mintz-Plasse was really funny. But like, and considering like McLovin is like the best part, he's like the only good part of that movie. Like I remember trying to watch Superbad, and literally the only parts I liked were the McLovin scenes, because it's just like, I'm just stuck watching Jonah Hill being an asshole for fucking an hour and a half.
He is in Moneyball. Yeah, no, he is in
Moneyball. He's good in that only because it's more dramatic. But yeah.
Okay, well, cool. You know what? I'm looking forward to 24 Jump Street though.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, between that and then the Rush Hour 4, I mean, come on now, like. We're getting more and more of these buddy cop comedies. Like, just bring us the Lethal Weapon sequel, like, or whichever number it was.
Dan, you know, we're also getting Pixar's next movie, Gato. We got
original
a teaser trailer today, and it's definitely interesting. It's going to be set in Italy. They're going back to Italy after, you know, being in Italy in Luca. So it's like, bring on the Italians once again. So Mark Ruffalo. So we got the Hulk and Giant Man in or Goliath. That's what it was, Goliath. In the movie here.
But cool.
Well, I meant both MCU characters.
Right.
I forget.
But I'm just saying, like, Lawrence Fishburne is way more known as
What was his name in Ant-Man and the Wasp? I don't even fucking remember his name.
Totally
I just know he played the
no
character who is Goliath
yes.
in the comics.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
I mean, they're never going to pay that off, but yeah.
But, of course not. So, before Toy Story 5 arrives in theaters next weekend, Disney and Pixar have shared the first teaser trailer for Gatto, an original animated adventure that takes viewers into the feline run underbelly of Venice, Italy. So, the teaser trailer doesn't reveal much, but it introduces Nero, Ruffalo, and Rocco, Lawrence Fishburne, as they question another cat in a funny interrogation scene. Visually, the movie does look like a bit of a departure for Pixar, similar to Luca, which was also set in Italy. It does remind me of Flow a lot, where it's like kind of like that scratchy animation, and kind of like, or like 101 Dalmatians.
Everything. It's Spider-Verse changed everything. Like now, even Pixar is like, our look is not our look anymore. So yeah, no, I like the look
definitely
of it,
has that kind of like
a moving
for lack of a better word, like sketchy. It's like scratchy, sketchy, but like in a good way. Like it doesn't look like we're doing it for cheap. It's like it looks like a good artistic.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course.
like creative vision.
I mean, this is like their next original movie too. Like after doing a bunch of sequels.
Gato. After years of maneuvering the canal-ridden superstitious city of Venice, Italy, Nero begins to question whether he's lived the right lives. Indebted to Rocco, the local feline mob boss, Nero finds himself in a quandary and is forced to forge a truly unexpected friendship that may finally lead him to his purpose, unless Venice gets the better of him first. So, kind of typical, Pixar plot. Like, so it's I have
it will surprise you, though.
grander
like
destiny kind of stuff, which isn't bad. Like, I mean, Soul did that very well, but it does kind of remind me of that a little bit.
I mean, Rio
again, it's good. Like, that's a good thing because Pixar can remake the same movie 10 times and we'll always love it. Like, no matter what. Like,
they always hit you in a way that you're not expecting, because obviously, like, they put a lot of work into like the story part. It's not just like, oh, come up with a basic story, let's animate it, and then push it out the door. You know, Pixar. That's why Pixar has a reputation for making some of the best movies, not just animated movies, some of the best movies ever made. I'm looking forward to this, but if you go back to the top of the article, I just had a theory about how they came up with the title. Maybe Colin Farrell, after, being the Penguin and Batman, gave them some ideas, because he was like, I got to, and then they were like, oh, gatto.
Or, gatto is the Italian word for cat.
That's also true. That's also true. That's also true. But it was a theory.
What it is.
It was a theory.
No, and it was a terrible theory. It's, Anyway.
Cool.
Now we move on to something that's definitely not kid-friendly, and that is The Death of Robin Hood. First reaction compares Michael Sarnowski's brutal, beautiful epic to Logan and Unforgiven. I think at this point, like, Hugh Jackman is just going to remake Logan for the rest of his career until he dies. That's, I think, what we're heading towards.
He got it right the first time. I mean, it was... it looks good, though. It looks good. I've seen the trailer for this.
I'm at a love-hate relationship for it, because on its own, it looks great. Hugh Jackman looks great, looks brutal. I like Sarnowski's style. I think he did an amazing job with Pig. I think he did an amazing job with Quiet Place Day One. Great. However, I fucking hate what people try to do with the mythology of Robin Hood. I hate that they're like, let's go grim dark, edgy, brutal. But it's like, guys, I get it. I understand. No one is ever going to top Errol Flynn's Adventures of Robin Hood. I get that. I understand. That is the pretty much quintessential best Robin Hood movie. No one's going to come close. It was a classic for the ages. I get that. So I know people maybe don't want to do the, more like fun, exciting, like adventurous Robin Hood that Robin Hood is supposed to be. So they're just doing grim, dark, edgy crap.
I mean, this is like, he's ritired Robin Hood, except then he's...
but no, I like the premise. Not just that. It's just like, the Robin Hood you knew isn't the real one. He was actually a brutal asshole that fucking killed for fun. It's like,
no, but John,
okay,
like, it's based on here? But it's not a fable though. Like, it's based on like a series of accounts that are romanticized over the years. So it's not even like a book. So I'm like, I don't mind it in this case, because the original stories that make up the legend of Robin Hood, it is exactly that, as a legend, right? So
I know it is a legend. It's just like, I feel like we've been like, the only versions we get now of like Robin Hood are like,
well, it's not
tongue-in-cheek or grim dark. It's like there's no in between.
Okay, I see what you mean. But like, there was the
Movie
Charlie Hunnam one.
is based, everybody. Boom.
The Charlie Hunnam one was different. Look, it's still, I will say,
Charlie Hunnam was King Arthur, but close.
Oh, was that it? Never mind. Oh, close enough.
But that's another good example. That's another good example of like
another legend.
King Arthur is kind of the same way. The legend, the Arthurian legend of like that entire lore and mythology. Everyone just makes it brutal and grimdark and edgy, and it's just like, I don't want to see that. I get it. And that's another thing. Excalibur. Best Arthurian legend movie we will ever get. But, like, that doesn't mean don't try to, like, emulate what it's supposed to be instead of doing all this, like, dark, edgy crap. I don't know. It's just, on the one hand, I'm going to see this because I love Sarnowski. His other 2 movies I loved unanimously. They were amazing movies. This looks like separating it from the Robin Hood mythology and legend lore.
Thank you. Then that's what I'm thinking of.
Yes. Then I think this will be a great movie. It's just the fact that it exists as the grim dark Robin Hood. Let's see.
Look, all I'm saying is I'm just saying it looks good to me. I haven't seen a version of the Robin Hood story where you see like this, like, his past life was that of, he was Robin Hood, and now, and obviously it's kind of like that thing of like, oh, Batman doesn't kill people. Batman killed people. So like, Robin Hood doesn't kill. Oh, he did kill people. So like, and he was a vigilante. Technically, was a criminal. Like, it just depends on your perspective. And then kind of exploring like, he's now kind of reckoning with his past while he's being treated as he's dying, essentially, in a way. Which again, I mean, yes, it feels like Logan. I mean, the reactions are comparing it to Logan. They're calling it is magnificent, brutally violent, insanely brutally violent, in a way that didn't expect. Yeah, Prince of Thieves is a little, I don't know, actually. Oh, Steve, well, comic accurate suit in Doomsday. That sounds good, man, Watcher. We were talking about Doomsday earlier. No, I mean, it's look, it gives more color to a character that sometimes is caricaturized. You know what I mean? So like and it's Hugh Jackman. It's Hugh frickin' Jackman. Like, he is a great actor. No, the Crusades were definitely not right. Nice. But so I agree with you there, Monique. I mean, and Jodie Comer's in the movie, so I don't know, John. You look at these reactions; they're pretty.
For
like,
the most part,
obviously,
positive.
The whole idea is it's a subversive version of the story. It's not really going with like
which
legend.
I haven't loved. Like anytime it's like, oh, this isn't the legend, 9 times out of 10 it's not good. So we'll see how it is, and usually first reactions don't mean much because all of them are pretty much like overly glowing. Maybe you have a couple like, oh, this wasn't for me kind of thing, but for the most part it's like mainly a lot of praise. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I don't know if I'm going to make it to see it in the movie theater, but I'm definitely going to try to watch it where I can, whether it's in the movie theater or at home down the road. But if you're going to compare it to Unforgiven and Logan, which, by the way, these are just social media reactions, so the full reviews will, tell a fuller story of what people think. But that's some elite company to be in, Logan and Unforgiven. So, which, by the way, if you guys haven't already, go vote for the Mount Rushmore Monday poll. The link is in the chat and the description for this video, because if you do, one of the options is Westerns, and I have a feeling Unforgiven and or Logan may be in that list for at least one of us. So, and yours, you guys can send us your picks for the winning topic for next Monday. But anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to the death of Robin Hood. Apparently, in the original folklore, there is, if you go off of like the later folklore of like talking about the later life of Robin Hood, he travels to Kirkley's Priory in what's meant to be in Yorkshire, England, for some treatment for whatever he's struggling with, and the prioress, who's basically his aunt, ends up alongside a knight slowly bleeding Robin Hood to death, and before he dies, he gets to shoot off one last arrow, and he says, wherever that arrow landed, that's where I want to be buried. So I'm just saying, if you go off the original folklore, it gets pretty goddamn dark. I don't know if he's gonna get bled to death in this movie, but I mean, Hugh Jackman, he's caught my interest, and then Jodie Comer and the rest of the cast as well. So anyway, let's talk about some more Fast and Furious stuff, John, that you teased at the top of the show.
Yep. This is all you.
I saw this today, and I was like, you know what? We're not gonna spend a ton of time on this, but I gotta talk about it because Dom Toretto and Brian Cobb, we got the whole team. Brian, Dom, Mia. The original The Fast and the Furious movie is turning 25, everybody, and is going to be back in theaters August 21st. And the trailer is like, I laugh at it, but I'm like, you know what? It's a guilty pleasure. So it's like the origin of the family and all the moments that made the family.
Brother never told you never threaten a man's family?
And so what I presume is one weekend only, we'll be able to go back and see the original The Fast and the Furious back in theaters. Well, Figure Drawing, you can, when we have the winning pick, you can drop your picks in the comments, or even just go to the poll for Mount Rushmore Monday and drop your picks there. But John, there is actually more than just the trailer that they put out. They even have a poster for the 25th anniversary of The Fast and the Furious, which looks nice. Again, you know what? Here's the thing. The first Fast and the Furious movie, it may be like a ripoff of Point Break in some ways, but at the very least, it was still about street racing, you know? Like, some people are like, oh, this franchise like jumped the shark 5 movies later, but you know what? Back then, they kept it simple. It was about stealing car radios and Honda Civics and you know, Dodge Chargers and whatever. That's not a Charger, but anyway, you got my point. John, there's also a series of popcorn buckets. There's popcorn buckets.
Okay, not gonna lie.
You know what I mean? The Charger. Come on.
Dom's Charger does look pretty awesome.
Right?
That does look cool.
I want that
I wouldn't
popcorn
buy
bucket.
it, but it's pretty. Plus, I don't have a
and you get the
Regal near me
collectible
anyway,
tin.
so I can't buy it anyway. So, you know.
I like this Regal jumping on the bandwagon. We need the
I love this guy being like, the Charger was literally used for Fast X, so they're just reusing the same popcorn bucket. Yep. That's funny.
You know what? It's probably for one weekend only. I'm sure they had
and recycle, baby.
around.
Let's go.
Hell yeah! I don't know if I'm gonna go see it August 21st. But if I have the time, I will because I never saw the original one in the movie theater. So you know what? It will be an interesting experience. But
when did you start seeing them in the movie theater? Then I'm curious.
I think the first one that I saw in the movie theater was the fourth one, which I feel like is when the franchise
probably the most people's jumping on point, because there was a bit of a gap.
There was a gap.
Tokyo Drift was a kind of a failure at that point, even though most people going back consider that.
Even though Dom comes back at the end of the movie. Yeah. Well, it's a cult classic now, you know.
Yeah.
But the fourth one felt like a big, you know, like Fast and Furious became like a legit
it was
franchise.
kind of like a soft reboot because everybody was, you know, coming back and all that stuff. Because, you know, it was kind of funny because like Too Fast, Too Furious lost Vin Diesel, Tokyo Drift lost Paul Walker. So then both of them fucking come back for 4. Because I think
that was the big selling point.
Wait, did Vin Diesel want to do, what was it? XXX instead, right? That's why
that was part of it. Yeah, that was part of it.
Because he's like, I'm gonna be a supporting character. Fuck that. I want to lead my own movie. Fuck that shit. Get out of here.
I mean, maybe the only good XXX movie, if that. So,
well, yeah, because like he died in the second one, so then it was Sam Jackson, and then Return of Xander Cage was like, nope, he's not dead anymore.
Yeah, he's not dead anymore. He's just impervious.
Hey, kind of like how Han was in Fast and Furious. Oh, hey, he's not dead anymore. Didn't I kill you, bro? Yeah. No, I'm not dead. Because it was originally, it's out of continuity, but then it's like, no, it is continuity, and Han's just not dead anymore.
Oh no, and apparently he was undercover while he was working for whatever he was doing with the gangs of Tokyo. I'm sure that's not what they call the triads or something in that. And then apparently, you know what? I'm not even. It's a little.
Don't try to make sense of it, Dan. It's fucking Fast and Furious, bruh. It's not worth it. Anyway, let's move from the big screen to the small screen with TV Talk Terror, because now we're getting into my neck of the woods with Doctor Who, and apparently Doctor Who could be gone until 2031, which is about 5 years from now, and reveals a whole new bombshell report. But you know, with all this, you know, Russell T Davies and Bad Wolf left, BBC, you know, kind of ended it, like Disney left. So many people are leaving, and they finally said, oh, the Christmas special is not happening. Let's it is a full circle moment, because Russell T Davies started the reboot and then he fucking ended it, so go figure. That will see the BBC ask producers to pitch in a bake-off style process to regenerate the Sci-Fi series, explains Deadline. However, the prospect isn't generating much in the way of enthusiasm after Disney Plus's failed partnership with the channel. The streamer came on board to help give Doctor Who a big-budget overhaul and bring the show to a global audience. Ultimately, it was deemed a poor investment, and Disney Plus exited the partnership as soon as possible. According to take it with a grain of salt, respected UK drama producers this trade spoke to all have serious reservations about stepping into the TARDIS. From a business perspective, sinking time and money into a franchise still owned by the BBC doesn't make sense. That's what Disney did, and the show ultimately failed to make an impact in terms of viewership or subscription numbers. One producer said, you would have to be mad to take on Doctor Who, with another adding, it's a bit of a nightmare for any producer in this market with the shadow of the Disney fallout. It's hard to see another major US studio replacing Disney, so the budget would be hard to get above $3 to $4 million per episode without significant co-pro or insane investment from a distribution arm, BBC Studios, which they will struggle to recoup on sales. Others feel that the show has lost its way creatively, with Davies blamed for using a sledgehammer to tackle issues of diversity and inclusion. His glib attitude about Doctor Who's future has drawn widespread backlash, particularly as he recently teased an exciting update that proved to be anything but. According to insiders, Davies' ousting was mutual as everyone realized Doctor Who required a level of surgery that could not be masked by the sticking plaster of a festive episode. There are conflicting claims about how much the showrunner had actually written, though it was likely only announced to calm concerns about the series being scrapped when Disney Plus walked away. Unfortunately, this all means that Doctor Who won't be back until 2028 at the earliest. However, even that is considered an outside bet, with one producer believing it could be gone for at least 5 years until 2031. And then, you have the tabloids and all that shit that gave their 2 cents, but we don't really fucking give a shit what they think. But this seems realistic. This does seem very realistic because, and this was Deadline, the original report. It does seem like the case. It just does seem like it doesn't make sense because BBC still owns the rights. They're getting less money because people are, I believe they're trying to work BBC in terms of the TV license in the UK thing where BBC essentially gets money where you have to pay like a TV tax essentially. And let me know any British people watching if I'm getting any of this information incorrect. But I believe it's like BBC doesn't get, it's essentially you pay taxes for the BBC and that's where they get their budget. I believe that's what it is. Maybe Dan can tell me if I'm wrong. But, so...
Yeah, they're publicly funded, so it's part of
So how is BBC funded? Is it through, like, taxes? Because I don't think it's through, like, governmental means. Isn't it? Don't you have to, like, pay, like, a TV license in the UK if, like...
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yes. That's how... Yeah, that's where they get...
That's like an oversimplification, I bet. But, like, that's what I am kind of aware of.
But it's because they're not quite... Yeah. Because they're not quite... They're not quite PBS necessarily, or in some ways they are. But like what you said, because there's a mandatory UK household television license fee. I remember when I lived in the UK, we had to pay that fee. And now, of course, that's supplemented by, the commercial revenue that's generated by stuff that's produced by BBC Studios. Obviously, like you have BBC's got iPlayer, which is like a free streaming service in the UK, but it's like regionally, it's geo-locked, so you can only watch it if you're in the UK. But they do have BritBox, so BritBox is a streaming service people subscribe to, so like therefore you get a revenue from that. And they're able to license stuff, BBC doesn't play ads, but BBC also has multiple channels. So yeah, I mean, they have commercial revenue, they have, government grants for stuff like PBS would get. But it's a combination of things. But yes, the UK household television license fee is the big one. Like that's if you get it, if you have a TV in the UK, and if if you're not just watching something over the air, or even if you are, you have to pay for that. So which is a good way.
Yeah.
I thought I wish.
And I think they're trying to work create laws to cut that funding. I believe I know they're trying to do that now because they think that that's like a stupid law at this point. They've been trying for years, because I know a couple people who live across the pond who, hate the BBC and hate, like, the EU and all the shit they do. So, I just kind of get their perspective on what their thoughts are. So, and I get that kind of just on my feed. Yeah. So I know a little bit about it. Not a ton, but, enough to be like, oh, hey, yeah, I'm aware of this kind of situation.
It's a £180 fee. I remember when we moved to the UK, we had to pay that because we were like, we're gonna get a TV, but you gotta pay the license thing. It's not too bad though. I mean, honestly, in terms of what you get, because BBC gives you not just BBC, but it includes stuff like ITV, Channel 4, where you get the British Bake Off. There's a thing called Dave, which I don't know if that's a network or a streaming thing. They have some international channels. And then, you get obviously you have all the other stuff that they make of it, all the programming they're able to fund through that is made available on other streaming services. They do a lot of YouTube programming as well. Then everything that's on BBC iPlayer. Now, of course, BritBox you have to subscribe to separately, but that's a different story. So that being said, Doctor Who, it is kind of hard, right? Because it's a unique situation. Like Star Trek, Star Wars, none of them are in that kind of a financial, system, as it were. Like none of those are owned by a public entity, that is a public service entity in a manner of speaking, like BBC is. So yeah, I mean, like I said, Paramount might want to go in that direction if they're looking for IP that they can revitalize. There was one quote in that other comicbookmovie.com article, from this Deadline article actually, where apparently from one of the other tabloids, somebody that tabloid spoke to who works in the industry said that basically right now, Doctor Who is considered a toxic franchise, like akin to like what happened with
I mean, what
DCU
one isn't
with the Flash
at this
and everything.
point, to be fair.
No, I know, but basically, I guess what they're trying to say is like they just need to let this franchise lay low for a little while before somebody takes another shot at a shot at it, because there's just a lot of bad, juju on. Like people just don't want to see any version of Doctor Who because all it will do is remind them of the version that they grew tired of watching or maybe stopped watching recently. And let's be honest, the Disney investment or co-production partnership was cast a pretty long shadow, and it was a very different version of Doctor Who than what we were used to, I guess, before that too. As far as I haven't seen every episode, but it went bigger, which I appreciated, but it just also felt.
Oh, by the way,
from the Doctor Who.
I did want to mention this for the people on the East Coast. It is now officially 2 weeks until Supergirl comes out.
Hell yeah. 2 weeks away. 14 days, everybody. 14 days. All right. Well, Doctor Who, good luck to you. Hopefully we'll see you back on our screens soon.
Hopefully sooner rather than later.
I mean, 2028 isn't that far away, but 2031 feels a little far off. But hey, if it is going to be back in 2031, we might be getting news about it in 2028. So, on the plus side.
You know what else is coming soon? Possibly Mobland Season 3.
Possibly.
If things are actually going to go the proper course. But Helen Mirren apparently responded amid rumors of clashes with fired co-star Tom Hardy.
So remember before there was a report about Helen Mirren addressing that, the previous reports were false. But if I remember correctly, I don't think Helen Mirren had a quote from herself. It wasn't like, it was reporting that was sort of course correcting and saying, no, Helen Mirren has no problem with Tom Hardy and blah, blah, blah. Or maybe she was asked in an interview. But this here, I think today Helen Mirren posted on her social media to kind of clear up any leftover, I guess, misunderstandings, if there were any. Although what she says kind of leads you to believe maybe there was some truth to what was being said, except that, obviously they're trying to do a little bit of damage control now because, let's be honest, everybody probably wants a season 3.
I still remember when Helen Mirren posted that fucking thing on Instagram, the laziest fucking thing imaginable of love you, and it's just a picture of Tom Hardy with a hastily written caption that took fucking 2 seconds to make, and it's
it's in there.
You ain't
it's in
fooling
this article.
anybody. Yeah.
But
there it is. Love you now and always. Bro, you couldn't even capitalize your own fucking. That this was fucking made by Helen Mirren because it's a blurry ass image. She just typed it on a fucking thing, or she has the laziest assistant that's running that fucking channel, and it's just Jesus fucking Christ, bro. So I think it's safe to say Helen Mirren doesn't really actually like Tom
Did
Hardy
we read what she said? Because if you read what she said, if this is from a Variety article that paragraph there.
I'm still kind of, iffy, but I love Tom. I think he's the most amazing actor. Different actors have different processes. I've learned over the years that some people get to things faster. As long as what's on the screen is fantastic, I'm totally chilled with however someone gets there. Tom is a very special person. I think he's absolutely remarkable. My support of him is genuine and heartfelt. I don't believe that for a second, but that's just me.
But you know what? She's not saying nothing that was reported didn't happen. She said,
Right.
oh, take somebody to I understand his process and blah, blah, blah. There was a speculation that maybe some of what happened could have been because Tom Hardy has a very pro-Palestine stance, and then he clashed over that with Helen Mirren on set. But again, it's all like hearsay. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to trust third-party sources on those things. But hey, you know what? At least they're all putting on a brave face and a united front, because I'm just saying, regardless of whether Tom Hardy ultimately comes back or is involved in a season 3, you best believe they all want a season 3 of Mobland. So, especially as we get closer to Mobland season 2 coming out, like, you want the momentum to be there. And if not anything else, this whole saga has put Mobland in the spotlight in a way that I don't even think the ratings which were really great for season 1 of Mobland ever did for Paramount Plus, even though it's one of the best one of the best and also one of the highest watch shows in Paramount Plus. It's never been more in the cultural zeitgeist and people talking about it than, the whole Tom Hardy drama. So however real or fake that stuff was, they're just at this point probably trying to use it to their advantage, which I don't blame them. You know what? It's Hollywood. So what else do you expect? Speaking of Hollywood though, John, speaking of Hollywood,
Yes.
2 studios combined into one. They become the biggest theatrical distributor, the biggest cable TV operator, and that company to be Paramount Warner Brothers. Well, their foreign investments, including the Middle Eastern funds, if the math works out the way we're expecting it to, that company, that new Paramount Warner Brothers company, whatever they call it, is going to be roughly half owned, by all those foreign investment funds. And so the Federal Communications Commission, the FCC in the US, is obviously, looking into that, probing it, as you were to call it. And then now European Union commissions as well, like basically their authority on mergers and acquisitions is also reviewing this merger deal. So it's just, another step in the long line of, hurdles they have to clear, because we talked about the other day, the British, I forget this, the Competitions Authority, I forget the name of the organization, but the British regulators are looking into this. They might conduct a phase 2 review, which would add at least 6 months onto, whatever conclusion they're going to get, which would certainly delay the closing of this deal beyond the date that Paramount has wanted to do it, which is September of this year. So, between the British regulators, the European regulators now, and the American regulators, this is far from over. Also, the state AGs, including California and New York, those attorneys general, they're pretty much in the process of filing a lawsuit to block the deal as well. All the unions have come out, against this idea because it reduces competition. We've talked about this. The only, the only place where they've had some good news on that front from Paramount and Warner Brothers is recently the Australian regulators approved the deal. So in Australia and New Zealand, they're like, we're cool, bruh. All right, mate, you guys can go and get jiggy with it out in the brushes, and then come back and be one. That's probably what the Australian regulators said. But outside of that, it looks like the Europeans are investigating, which rightfully so, John, because like I mentioned, this deal will have an even bigger impact in some international markets where there's fewer competitors than there are in the US. Because like Peacock, for example, isn't available internationally. And then, HBO and Paramount, there's some markets where they overlap, but there's other markets where they don't, but they have a bigger market share than they do in the US. So yeah, there's they're going to be looked into, rightfully so. And it doesn't mean that it's going to be a yes or a no. It just means that it's a work in progress. And I guess we'll find out sooner than later who gives them the green light and who does not. So there's that. I don't know if you want to add anything else to it or if you want to just move on.
Nope. Just want to move the fuck on because I couldn't care less about this stupid motherfucker.
Cool. All right. And with that, I believe we are moving on to the quick hits. There we go. Let's get through these quick, shall we? Because we gotta get to the DC talk. Hello, you're fake 915. Do other countries take into account countries that deny or accept a deal, or do they ignore them? I'm sure they take into account, like, because they'll look at, like, you know, what factors the other organizations, the other regulators, you know, looked into. But honestly, it varies by country because each country's regulators will mostly pay attention to what matters in their particular part of the world. So, like, because what's relevant to regulators in the UK is not what's relevant necessarily to regulators in the Australia, because the markets are very different. Audience demographics will vary and stuff. So, and also these companies own different businesses in all those countries. Like Paramount, Warner Brothers owns different sets of TV networks and, you know, other local, you know, property, real estate, like studio, you know, back sound stages and stuff, depending on whether it's the UK. Like Warner Brothers has Leavesden Studios in the UK. Paramount has a presence through other businesses in Australia, but it's not all the same. So they're judging it based on what's relevant to their countries specifically. But I'm sure they look at like what another country, like say Australia in this case, on what basis they approve the deal. But it may matter, you know, but you might have it that one regulator says no, the other one says yes, because it's simply what makes sense for them. So anyway, let's move on. Thank you, Decol, for that. David Tennant and Matt Smith are my two favorite doctors, by the way. But John, quick hits. Anyway, did you see this Heart of the Beast trailer? Brad Pitt?
I did. I didn't get a chance to see this one. I saw the Gato trailer, but I didn't see Heart of the Beast. So
I saw this trailer. I've seen like the teaser for this. I saw this trailer. Honestly, it's just, you know, Brad Pitt is like, this is my turn to do a dog in the wilderness survival movie. Harrison Ford did his, a bunch of other actors have done theirs, now Brad Pitt is doing his. So it's like, you know, you get to that certain point in your career. Robert Redford did one, I think, that you just gotta do a movie where you gotta, you know, and a dog that you gotta save and survive with alongside in the wilderness, because yeah, survival movies are fun. Am I gonna watch it? Probably not, unless it's on streaming. But it looks interesting. But it's not anything that I haven't seen before. So
yeah. Next up, Steven Spielberg says James Bond movies constantly turned me down, and if they asked me now to direct, the answer would be, "You can't fucking afford me. Eat a dick."
So, wow, I have a mouthful now. He was saying that after Thunderball, I think it was, he reached out to Albert Broccoli, and a couple of times to say, hey, I want to direct this movie. Like after Jaws, he was like, I want to direct a Bond movie. And then the Jaws, like, you know, the music that dun, 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 I think it was a Jaws. No, Close Encounters. It was after Close Encounters, he reached out again, and each time, you know, the Broccolis told him no. But the 5-beat cue from Close Encounters, he was like, I'll let you use it in Moonraker if you let me direct a Bond film. And, you know, the Broccoli still said no. He still let them use the music, but eventually it got to a point where I'm like, okay, well, you guys didn't want me to direct it. You know, I made Jaws, I made Close Encounters, I can make a Bond film. And I'm like, you know what? Steven Spielberg can make a Bond film, but it just looks like it's never gonna happen.
The closest we'll ever get is the Indiana Jones movies. Those are probably the closest we'll ever get to his version of James Bond.
Which is ironic, because after the second time he got declined, I think it was like a year or two later, George Lucas, he went to, you know, visit George Lucas, who was working on one of his pictures at the time, and George Lucas was like, oh, that sucks, man, but you know what, I got something even better for you, Indiana Smith, because it was known as Indiana Smith.
It was Indiana Smith at the time,
and he was like, you should make this is gonna be even better than any Bond film. And you know, the rest is history, because obviously Spielberg went on to make those Indiana Jones movies, and here we are. I am sure, though, Monique, that if Amazon wanted to throw money at Spielberg, they could get him to do a Bond film, but obviously they got Denis Villeneuve on tap right now.
And the thing is, Spielberg, he's not giving up Final Cut. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
Denis Villeneuve,
which Amazon won't give that up after all the money they put into it, so yeah.
Yeah, so Spielberg, he's like, yeah, I'm getting Final Cut. Oh, you're not going to give him to me?
It's a little bit like Nolan, you know, like in an ideal world, like can you imagine if Nolan and Spielberg got to do Bond movies? Like, holy
in an ideal world, Sir Christopher Nolan would do a Bond film, and David Fincher would do a Batman film. But unfortunately, we don't live in that world. So,
yeah,
yeah, no.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day, but
unlikely.
Yeah. I'd say it was more likely under
one day this fucking franchise will end, but today's not that day. So, Tom Hanks says the Oscars don't need a voice acting category because voice performances should be able to win Best Actor and Actress. I kind of agree, but the problem is,
this is like in an ideal world it would work, but Tom Hanks
would
live
work.
in the
But the
real
thing
world.
is, who's getting credit for the performance? Would it just be Tom Hanks for Woody, or would it be the animators in addition to that pumping up the performance? Because if it wasn't for the animators, it would just be Tom Hanks in a booth, like getting filmed, and that's it, because that's the performance. But now, I'm not saying that voice performers aren't great or don't deserve it.
No.
But there's a lot of extra stuff that goes with it without, the CGI. Andy Serkis is just a little tiny British man in the unitard with dots on his face. So, it's just hard to be like, for instance, if James Ortiz gets nominated for Rocky, who's getting commemorated? Is it just James Ortiz, or is it going to also be, in addition to that, the other puppeteers and the CGI artists that brought Rocky to life? Now, the good part about that is James Ortiz did the voice and was the main puppeteer, so that does help. But
he's eligible because of that. So
yeah,
because they did say that, yeah.
So, this is more complicated, and it's kind of more complicated than Quick Hit can give us. So we'll just say I partially agree, but I don't totally agree.
I think the short of it for me is this. I appreciate the optimism from Tom Hanks of all the people, but I just think in an ideal world this would be happening. But if it was really the case that they would let a voice actor win, then they would also let an animated movie win Best Picture. So we don't live in that world, and that's why you need an extra category dedicated to Best Voice Actor, Best Voice Actress. It's just how it is. I mean, maybe decades down the road, but we're just not there yet. So, hey Lewis, how you doing, man? It's a random. We're not talking about Thunderbolts, but thank you for sharing. Let's keep going, John.
Yep. Dwayne Johnson says his Oscar snub lit a fire in my spine. Well, how about
I hope
get
he's
good,
okay.
scrub? Like,
I hope he's okay.
Be a better actor, but calm down.
Hey, you know what? Hey, he's got a couple of big ones coming up.
I mean,
he's got a movie
he was
Martin
very
Scorsese
good in the movie,
up.
and it showed he can act. But is he an Oscar nominated? No, of course not.
Gotcha. Okay, and I hear what you're saying, Lois. Yeah, or Lewis. I think Florence Pugh is gonna have a big part to play in Avengers Doomsday. Definitely, she's the leader of the new Avengers. So, but anyway, hey, you know what? Dwayne Johnson got that Martin Scorsese movie coming up, so I'm sure he'll have some Oscar consideration.
Yeah, but you know what else we're getting? We're gonna get the reunion between Brad Bird and Michael Giacchino in his upcoming film Ray Gunn, which I'm super excited for. That's gonna be awesome. And Michael Giacchino, I'm sure, is going to deliver us another banger of a score. And Brad Bird is going to give us another banger of a film, because the man has yet to disappoint. So, can't wait. That's just guys, I'm already excited. You don't need to add on to it, yet they did it anyway. Thank you, Giacchino, for existing, and thank you, Brad Bird, for existing.
I think they already recorded the score at Abbey Road Studios, so nice.
Yeah. And Brad Bird's finally going gray. Here we are. But, age. What a thing.
What a thing.
But next up, Love Story star Paul Anthony Kelly, possible future Batman, joins Housemaid's Secret, so that's pretty cool. Good for that guy.
Pretty cool. Hey, isn't that the Sydney Sweeney movie that's getting a sequel? That's the next one is called Housemaid's Secret. Hey! Mm-hmm. What happened to Brendan Sklenar, also possible future Batman?
I haven't seen the movie, so maybe he fucking died. I don't know.
At this point, I don't mind seeing Sydney. I wouldn't mind seeing Sydney Sweeney as Catwoman in the DCU.
Please no. No. Okay. No. Black Canary at best. Come on.
Moving on. We're gonna move on.
Jennifer Lawrence to produce and star in romantic comedy 1 month mark for Apple. Cool.
Yeah. Nice.
Anyway, after The Bride, apparently Maggie Gyllenhaal reteams with Warner Brothers for a new movie based on a Rachel Kushner book. So, all right. So Warner Brothers is just throwing money at anything right now. I guess it's like, oh hey, you gave us a bomb. we'll give you another movie. That makes sense. Like
that was a bomb,
that
but
level of failure would cause another director to be in director jail for fucking 5 years.
I remember, but like I remember,
Joe gets another one. Okay.
I remember Pam Abdi saying that they didn't think that it was. They thought that it was just either a bad day at the office for her or the movie just didn't connect. But like they were like, okay, so like you're gonna have a few things that we'll miss, but it won't change our strategy. I think is what I remember hearing them say in like one of the public appearances after the movie came out. But hey, I don't know if it's failing upwards. I mean, Maggie Gyllenhaal did a good movie before The Bride, so maybe, yeah. And then you know what, MTG liked it. I think Liz had a mixed reaction to it, but hey, look, they optioned this script. It's not a guarantee that this is all going to come through. So, but Maggie Gyllenhaal is on board, and you know what, Warner Brothers is at least giving people, and we need more female directors in Hollywood at this like mainstream level. I think it's good that she's gonna get more, because like here's the thing, no matter whether it's male, female, or otherwise, you shouldn't be judged on your worst day at the office or like your worst project. And just because she doesn't have a lot in her director's portfolio doesn't mean she can't be given another chance at it. Well, thank you for reminding us, MTG. So, but anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing if this ends up being anything good. I have no idea what the book is about, but like, sure, I'm sure we'll know about it more later.
Apparently, new Transformers movie taps Welcome to Derry writer Jason Fuchs. So
he also wrote one of the Wonder Woman movies in the DCEU.
Yeah, he wrote the bad one.
Oh, 84. Well, you want to scroll down to his face so we know what he looks like? Because Jason, he's writing the movie. This is not the same. They're apparently still working on the G.I. Joe crossover, which is a separate thing. But and then Michael Bay might still do his own thing. This is not any of those things. This is going to be its own separate thing. But Michael Bay and the other usual producers like Lorenzo B. Bonaventura, they're all going to be producers on this. So I guess we'll see what it turns into. Yeah, another Transformers movie. You know what, Paramount needs it. So
sure. Slow Horses, your buddy, season 6 sets fall release date, and apparently that's gonna be coming
September
back
16th.
In September 16th.
6-episode run. Yeah, that's pretty much every season, Wednesday to all the way to October 21st. Perfect. My fall is all set. I'll be watching Slow Horses season 6. Slough House, baby.
Only Murders in the Building season 6 adds 8 to the cast, including Martin Freeman, Jerry Hollowell Horner, and Jamie DeMartino.
Isn't it like literally there was a story yesterday about them adding a bunch of people, so like now they've added even more people? Okay. You know what? Everybody wants to be on that show, and good for them. Martin Freeman would be significant. He's in the MCU these days.
We did talk about this the other day, but Sarah Gilbert, Bruce McGill, Sherilyn Flynn, and a bunch of other people were added to Netflix's...
and everybody is in that show, John. They've got like 25 different not lead, but like main characters, I guess. I don't know. Cool. All right.
Yep.
More TV casting news.
Widow's Bay is rumored. I've heard this is actually
really good.
Fucking good.
Oh, it's really good.
I mean, it's Apple TV, so yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and Matthew Rice from like The Americans and other things, and mostly The Americans.
He was also in A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, and what's the show about the lawyer? The lawyer, but it was before he became a lawyer.
The Lincoln Lawyer?
Like no, it was Raymond Burr was the original one.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, except I don't remember the name. Somebody in the chat's gonna tell us. Matthew Rice.
What was Matthew?
Widow's Peak is
fucking
great.
Ozzy Osbourne had a song about it.
Perry Mason.
Perry Mason. Jesus fucking Christ, I forgot about that.
Sorry.
I was like, what is that name? Holy shit. But anyway, so what is
I
Bay renewed? I've heard nothing but amazing things.
Darkly Derek, yes.
So, yes, very nice. Yes. I will hopefully give this a watch with all the 70,000 quadrillion shows I need to watch. So, yeah.
You know what? I'm currently catching up on Ted Lasso. I fell behind on that,
nice.
So that's where I'm at.
But Life, Larry, and the Pursuit of Unhappiness, Isla Fisher, and Jane Krakowski to guest star in HBO sketch series. So, cool.
Nice. Hey, Isla Fisher, Jane Krakowski. I saw their names and I was like, Yes.
Very nice. A&E factual studio workers vote to unionize. Yay!
That's good.
Way to go,
You know,
A&E.
anytime you see that, that's always like workers' rights, because they're going to be part of the WGA East. They voted in a National Labor Relations Board election that took place on Wednesday. 84% of the eligible workers supported, basically voting in favor of this. A&E Studios, you know, factual studios, basically it's reality programming. But like, John, you and I both know, some people on this reality show sets work incredibly long hours. There's a lot of like abuse happening of like, you know, especially below the line crew. So unionization will help protect their workers' rights and benefits and give them better pay, which is what it's all about. So yeah, and especially on the writing side, which, you know, if anything is going to tell you that reality shows are written, the fact that they're joining the WGA should tell you that.
Nat Geo spins off Tucci in Italy with Tucci in Great Britain. So the man is going from one of the greatest food capitals of the world to Great Britain.
It's a bit of a downgrade. It's a bit of, I was like, you could have gone to Portugal, you could have gone to Spain, Brazil,
like India, where half of fucking Great Britain cuisine is
exactly
from.
Like the whole subcontinent. You could have gone to China. Like
fucking
Japan.
Vancouver probably has better fucking cuisine.
Probably California alone could have better, but you know, Stanley Tucci knows all that. That's not as
France.
Exotic. Yeah.
Germany.
I know, like, you know, this shepherd's pie isn't such a bad thing,
food.
you know. Like shepherd's pie, you got I don't know, fish and chips.
Shepherd's pie is Irish though.
Is it? I thought it was Scottish. No, I think it's Scottish.
Pretty sure it's Irish.
Okay, I don't know.
Hold on, let me look it up.
I mean, we're struggling here, guys. Maybe some tikka masala, but that's, you know, obviously the irony. Famous British. You guys go off in the chat. Famous British food dishes. Okay, so fish and chips. We already said that. A Sunday roast. Okay. Bangers and mash. Heard of that, tried it. Pies and pastry, okay, all right. The Cornish pastry, yep, tried that. Scotch egg, full English breakfast, that's like a whole thing. Sticky toffee pudding. Sticky toffee pudding is the bomb.
Apparently, okay, so shepherd's pie apparently originated in Britain and France.
Probably during the wars. Any of the ones that fought.
No, well, the original was the cottage pie that was made with beef instead of lamb, and then the shepherd's pie was introduced. But cottage pie originated back at least since 1791, and then a recipe for shepherd's pie. Okay, so you might be right, Dan. A recipe for shepherd's pie published in Edinburgh in 1849.
Which specifies I'm dating a Scottish kind. I know the
sliced rather than minced. It's very different. But then the 1850s like really truncated it. I could have sworn it was Irish, but maybe
you know what? But either way, the fact that we are still having a hard time counting beyond the one hand is a little interesting. You know what? We could make a shepherd's pie IRL and do a stream. Plowman's
I am going to be making a shepherd's pie for my YouTube channel. That's not going to be like fucking years from now, but because I'm doing a video series on my channel where I'm making recipes in this game from this game I play. And you make it with like canned goods, and it's in a post-apocalyptic zombie survival game. So, you know, that's going to be interesting.
Hey, John. I mean, hey, Jalen. I'm eating biryani. And I'm eating, biryani and bagel bites right now, which is an interesting combination.
Combination. Anyway, Ellison sell Redstone Family's movie theaters in $30 million deal. So, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, because there's a bunch of movie theaters that the Redstone family had still owned through National Amusements, which was their company through which they own Paramount. But obviously they sold all of that to the Ellisons. And basically, it was Harbor Lights Entertainment was like the company that succeeded like National Amusements, so it's like a holding company that owned these theaters. There were 13 movie theaters, not that many of them. There were some of them in the Northeast, some of them in the Midwest. They sold them to Kinopolis, which is a European movie theater company that's expanding in the U.S. So they'll have 13 more theaters that they can, now put their name on. So yeah, you know what? While he's advocating for more theatrical movies, he's selling off the theaters. So there you go. A little bit of irony in there. Yeah. Oh, I also love a good Shepherd's Pie movie, but anytime and always. Oh yeah,
so
the old
Alamo
Paramount was
Drafthouse
done.
dedicates San Francisco Theater to Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, hey, look at that. They're actually gonna fet him, or whatever the word is. Basically, not only they're gonna dedicate the theater to Sir President Christopher Nolan. Their San Francisco location is their flagship location, but they're also gonna have a special presentation of the Odyssey where he's gonna be there, and they're gonna be like probably doing a ribbon cutting or something. So good stuff. Good stuff for Sir President Christopher Nolan.
Mm-hmm.
And good on you, Alamo Drafthouse.
Next up,
speaking of the Odyssey,
pumping up Ludwig Göransson as one of the all-time modern composer goats. So,
yeah.
Hell yeah, bro.
I mean, right now, I feel like the 3 full-time best working composers are Ludwig, Göransson, Michael Giacchino, and Hans Zimmer. Not in that order, but those are my 3 best right now. I mean, because John Williams is partly retired.
I will say,
that's the only reason why he's not in my. Yes,
Daniel Pemberton, he fucking knocks it out of the park with not only Project Hail Mary, but He-Man. He fucking did it. 2 best scores of the year so far. Bam, bam. Obviously, that's going to change with the Odyssey. But so far, first half of the year, Daniel Pemberton dropped 2 of those.
Nice.
Anyway.
You know what? If you do a Mount Rushmore of currently working movie composers, they would all be on there for me, all 4 of those.
Although, speaking of Project Hail Mary, boom, there you go.
Hey!
Apparently, I did read about this, when this first was talked about, but AMC theaters recently reported that more than 25 million people visited theaters in May, making it the biggest May for movie attendance since pre-COVID in 2019.
That's epic. And then you got Backrooms and Obsession, Gen Z are showing up.
Devil Wears Prada, Michael, all that shit. Project Hail Mary. Fuck yeah, baby, let's go.
Amazing.
Jazz hands. That's it.
That's a good idea. I'll put it in our list of ideas. But yeah, you know what? Movie going is back, John. That's good to see. Comic book movie scores. I'm making a note of that. That's a good idea for Tier List Tuesday. Okay. And on that note, we're going to wrap up the news part of the show. We're not done yet, of course. As always, we're going to be going over to DCU Daily. So, like James Gunn would like to tell you, don't forget to stay #blessed from the beginning.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in the stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all in the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto. Hunka hunka.
These bagel bites are really good. But you know what? So is DCU Daily. So welcome on in to DCU Daily as I've got food in my mouth. But that's all right. That, eating and streaming is part of the game. So I'm excited. We got some Supergirl talk today. We got to talk about the Lobo solo movie because Jason Momoa seems to imply in a recent interview that there's more meat on that bone than maybe some of us might have thought, at least before Supergirl comes out. Then Colin Farrell talked about the Batman Part 2 again, and the look of Guy Gardner is changing in the comics, and James Gunn talked about the Wonder Woman movie again, as well as Ana Nogueira. She talked about the Wonder Woman movie as well. So yeah, we got. There's not as much news as usual, but we got some big ones. So John, what are you most excited to talk about?
Lobo. Always. Forever. Lobo.
Victory Mine, Supergirl, Hope is Alive. 2 weeks away, baby. 14 days or 14 days. I don't know. Image flips sometimes. Anyway, John, walk us through the Guy Gardner stuff. Apparently, DC Comics doing some interesting stuff with the character of Guy Gardner. How is that gonna be looking? They of course just changed the design of Supergirl in the comics. It looks like maybe Guy is going in a new interesting direction as well.
Yeah, so apparently this is just like an alternate future version of Guy Gardner, where he has a red mustache, but like a gray beard, but he's also bald. Interesting. And it looks like he has like a robe. The old version has a robe. And somehow the bowl cut is even uglier. Nice.
Ironic. Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Anyway.
That could have been a quick hit.
The silence
hey,
is
let's talk about the Batman
deafening.
too.
But Colin Farrell talks about terrifying sequel, maybe terrifying with how bad it's going to be. No, I'm kidding. And reveals how big Penguin's role is. We haven't gone to that place yet where somebody arrives with a titanium briefcase chained to their wrist and 7 pages of only my scenes I got to read from the first to last page, and it's really magnificent. I just think Matt Reeves is brilliant, and he wrote not only tonally a really kind of dark and at times terrifying piece, and not only psychologically weighty and nuanced, but really feeling. I just think he wrote kind of a contemporary genre masterpiece. Really, I'm only in 2 scenes, which is great because it means I can enjoy the rest of the film. Honestly, man, it's so good. I'm so excited about it. So, yeah.
You gotta read it. You should have done it in his accent. He's like, honestly, man.
No, I'm too tired for that. It's almost 1 in the
morning. He called it terrifying. I mean, look, he keeps getting asked about it. But we know the Penguin's role is gonna be pretty limited. He's like he's in like a handful of scenes, and then, apparently, remember there were reports that they were working on setting up potentially a writer's room for season 2 of the Penguin. So. Yeah, I don't think the future of the Penguin is largely going to be in the show, at least until maybe later movies. Hey, Dominic, the past 4 shows you all been eating while talking, new trend? Well, I usually don't eat and talk a lot, but I'm kind of hungry, so I decided I'll make the exception. But no, it's usually, I guess I didn't realize that was a trend, but thank you for pointing that out. I'll be a lot more eating conscious now. But hey, John, that means we're moving on to the next thing, which is, what did the Gunn say? Ring-a-ding-ding-ding. What did the Gunn say? Actually, also, what did Ana Nogueira say? Because we're talking about the Wonder Woman script for the DCU movie that hopefully we'll get sooner than later. She was asked during one of a recent Supergirl promotional interview, and... Yeah, she was like...
Pretty much this was all but confirmed, but she's finally confirming it from her own mouth. So, though she obviously couldn't go into much detail for fear of the sniper dot, Nogueira did briefly explain her approach to the character during an interview with Collider.
Yeah.
There's a reason his last name is Gunn. I try to approach every character I write from a place of what feels most true to me about them. I put on blinders and see what the character means to me before I take them onto the page. Nogueira is also developing the live-action Teen Titans movie. Who knows if that's still in development? So Gunn and DC Studios clearly have a lot of confidence in her ability. We don't know much about Diana's next solo outing, but there's a speculation that Gunn might introduce the iconic Amazonian warrior Amanda tomorrow, and Adria Arjona might be cast as her, but we'll see.
Or Eva Di Dominici, maybe.
Or Eva Di Dominici, who was also in contention for Arjona's role, recently ignited speculation when she shared a training video on Instagram. Due to the emojis she added to her post, a woman crossed with arms and a pair of crossed swords. The emojis do seem very specific, but she could simply be leaning into the rumors. I don't know what they mean by fast-tracking. I've always had Wonder Woman as a priority, but we got the first few things started, and there's some other things that are really close to greenlighting, like there's a TV show that I hope that we're going to be greenlighting in the next few days.
Okay, so this is James Gunn talking about in a recent interview. And the whole thing about fast tracking, he was referring to a report that we talked about months ago when I think it was Deadline or somebody was reporting that they're fast tracking the Wonder Woman movie. It was implied that is because obviously they want to see, you know, Batman, Wonder Woman on screen sooner than later in the DCU. You can't just make Superman movies forever. But James Gunn was like, I don't know if you want to call it fast tracking, but, you know, obviously these characters are important. But then in that same interview, James Gunn, you know, went on to say, so now a little time has passed, and we really need Wonder Woman and we really need Batman because they're so important to us. And so it's become a little bit more like going to everybody at DC and being like, we need to figure this out. We have good writers on Wonder Woman, and we just have to make sure it's working, and they have to not be somebody who's going to take 2 years to write a script. John, 2 things. One, he's admitting that, you know, they waited a little too long to bring us a Wonder Woman and Batman. A little time has passed. So, like, he's admitting that there's a sense of urgency, James Gunn is, and that's my theory was that he probably
sold off. And
but also I think he underestimated
closes all of this down anyway.
But even David Zaslav, I feel like he was like, look, where the hell is Wonder Woman? Where the hell is Batman? Like, you can't just live off Superman, you know? So I definitely think James Gunn was like course corrected a little bit by, you know, his boss, because ultimately you can't just, you know, go 5 years into a cinematic universe and not use Batman and Superman, not use Batman and Wonder Woman when you have them in your stable of characters. But also, the second thing, John, clearly James Gunn does not want Matt Reeves to write that Wonder Woman movie because he would take 2 or more years to write the script, which I thought was like an interesting thing that he said. He's like, oh, you obviously don't want to have somebody who's going to take 2 years to write a script. Ooh, you know, like, there's Matt Reeves right there. I don't know. What do you think about this? What James Gunn had to say?
I agree. You need more than just Superman. You need the Holy Trinity, baby.
Yeah.
You need the Holy DC Trinity.
It's just interesting how he worded those things,
because
he's almost.
I mean,
James Gunn is not very good at corporate speak, which I appreciate.
No,
like,
he's not.
Being
That's
honest.
why he needs Peter Safran to be saying all this shit.
Yeah.
So, you know,
because like you could have really sugarcoated all of that, but he almost gave away the plot with that. Like, even though he didn't directly address like the fact that, oh no, we fucked up and we should have brought in a Wonder Woman and Batman story sooner, but he. So I appreciate the honesty, because you got to get the Trinity in there, like maybe not in the second movie of the franchise, but sooner than 5 years.
But yeah, I think I do agree with him. I just hope that Wonder Woman gets the respect she deserves. I hope Batman gets the respect he deserves. And I hope they do great things. So
yeah, no, I agree. Well. And Ana Aguirre clearly working hard, especially because now, I mean, between promoting Supergirl, which she's only done a few interviews for, which was probably all like maybe over the same weekend, because they bring in the media to like one location and they all get their time with the people. You go through the car wash, as it were. But outside of that, I mean, John, one last question. You guys can let me know in the chat too. Because you remember, James Gunn previously was like, oh, we're not in a rush because Matt Reeves is doing his thing. We want to give him his time, and then we'll do a Batman movie. But this here also seems to imply that maybe there are some competing priorities. Like, you can't just sit on, you know, not having a Batman movie in the DCU for too long, because I don't know, like, it's people are gonna start asking questions. They already have. The other thing I was gonna say is, do you think Ana Aguirre will still eventually get to the Teen Titans movie?
I hope so. Like especially if Supergirl and Wonder Woman are actually good, then it's just like, if she's doing well with these DC characters, then fuck it, keep her on and have her keep doing stuff. It's just like, if Supergirl is at the very least halfway fucking decent, then, you know, then we'll actually, you know, get, like, she turned shit into gold. Like, she turned Tom King into something watchable. So, you know, she's in that case, she's literally Jesus. Miracles.
I mean, there is a Wonder Woman. There was a run of Wonder Woman that Tom King did. Remember, John? So
yeah, and it's terrible. It sucks. It's horrifically bad. It is horrific.
It's already happened. MTG. John is worked up. Thank you, Enterprise.
It's horrific.
Yeah.
You know what I feel like? I feel like Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man in like the Spider-Man 3, where he's talking about the man who killed my uncle is still out there. The man who character assassinated 12 DC characters is still out there, and he's still writing for DC. This man should be jailed for how many characters he's assassinated. Batman, Wonder Woman, fucking Orion, Booster Gold. How many characters is he going to assassinate before you fucking get a clue, DC? Come on now. What is this?
I don't know.
What he did to Booster Gold, somebody should have dragged him out behind the shed and just put him up in the head, because that's, damn, bro, that's just reprehensible right there. Like, I know Booster Gold isn't, like, a beloved character. He is the hero you've never heard of. But, like, what he did with that fucking story is Jesus Christ. That should be, like, that's for the fucking minor leagues. Not a guy who's writing for, like, one of the two biggest comic book companies of all time.
Relegate that man to the lower division. Anyway, you know what's not been ruined? It's Supergirl, because like you said, Ana Nogueira turned that Woman of Tomorrow comic book into what looks like a great movie. I mean, she wrote the movie and Craig Gillespie directed it. And of course, now we got Millie Alcock starring in the film, and the summer of Supergirl continues, including the crypto bucket at KFC, which just landed there a couple of days ago. John, did you have a chance to check this out?
No, I did not. But you know, I think this is cute. This is funny.
I like it.
I mean, I'm not a big KFC guy. I had it like fucking 10 years ago one time. So
well, I'm just like, you know, we talk about popcorn buckets a lot on the show, and this is like a chicken bucket, but it's like a collectible one. So I guess once you're done with the chicken, you could probably wash it and then either put it up on a shelf or use it for other things. You know, other kinds of food, that is. But hey, the crypto bucket, I like it. I like it. More merchandise. I'm sure this is gonna sell for like $50 for some reason. But anyway, you know, Cersei would make a lot of sense, and we have never seen Cersei or Medusa in live action. Although we do have a Cersei in the DCU, so I wouldn't mind seeing her, Anya Chalotra, playing the character in live action for the Wonder Woman movie. It would be interesting to see which direction they go. But John, we got more Supergirl marketing stuff. A lot more brand partnerships, especially as we get close to the movie coming out. If you don't have a pet insurance for your dog or for your cat, then John, if you want to flip over to Pumpkin Pet Insurance, which of course has the insurance policy for you, because if Pumpkin Cares is good enough for crypto, then it's good enough for your dog or cat or other animals. I presume they also, you know, insure hamsters and hares and I don't know, like other pets you can legally keep. Not a monkey like Ross, but you know, other things, ones you can keep.
Monkey.
Yeah. Anyway. And there's jewelry, John. Shop Girls Crew.
Honestly, this looks. Some of this looks really cool. Like
it does.
Like I like these. I think these are pins or something, or brooches. These look kind of cool. I like this Batman necklace.
Yeah,
I like the ring. Wonder Woman tiara ring. The Batman and Batmobile.
That's actually really creative. I like the
of piercings are good, and this crypto necklace.
Oh man! Oh, and the
Superman.
John, would you get your ears pierced for that? Would you?
No.
Would you get your
no?
Okay.
No. I'll get a necklace or maybe a ring, but like.
My friend that used to work at a taco truck in LA said they saw Supergirls at MTG and it was delightful. You know what? That is amazing, man. You got to see one of the early LA screening. That's awesome. I mean, hey, pretty much everybody that I've heard from that has been to that screening, they said it's wonderful. It's a good movie. You know, if you don't go in with any like preset expectations, I think you'll have a good time at Supergirl. So, yeah, girls just want to have fun, enterprising. Girls just want to have fun. And why not? You know, guys also want to have fun, but girls just want to have fun. Speaking of girls want to have fun, I'm pretty sure Millie Alcock and Eve is Eve Ridley?
Eve Ridley.
I think they both are going to have a lot of fun in this movie.
Although I don't know why Bilquis Evely gave her a fucking like giraffe neck. Her neck is looking a little long there.
That collar design is a little extended there, out of, you know.
But yeah, for the most part, the rest of it looks good. So it looks good.
Yeah, she probably had like a Rob Liefeld nightmare for a second or something like that. Yeah.
Oof.
Mm.
Anyway,
rock your look, find your power. I love the artwork. I love that style of artwork. I wonder if they should have used more of that for promoting the movie. Obviously, the posters are good, but Bilquis Evely's right there. So, anywho, John, I think we gotta wrap up the show by talking about the main event. It's on the thumbnail. We know. Let's just be honest. The Supergirl movie, while it's a great movie to launch the character Supergirl as a big screen heavy hitter in this new DCU, it is just as much, let's be honest, Supergirl is a backdoor pilot for Jason Momoa's Lobo so they can give him a movie later on. But you gotta wonder, Lobo, as much as we all want to see it, when I say we all, I'm sure a lot of us are super fans and people like us who are doing these kind of like shows and we keep up with the news and watch podcasts like this and stuff. I do wonder if they made a straight up Lobo movie, like what its box office potential actually is going to be. But Jason Momoa recently was asked about all this and he had some interesting things to say. John, do you want to walk us through what he was saying? Because I found a lot of what he was saying to be exactly along the lines of what I've been thinking. Like, maybe they don't need to rush their way into it, but yeah, let's see what Jason Momoa said. He was talking to
it's not confirmed. He talked about it a little bit. He's like, I have asked, and they do have some plans. If I'm allowed to release anything, I would probably just say that much. Aquaman, came out with a little splash of him in BVS. Justice League was pretty big, and then Aquaman. So I think it'll be a slow release. We'll see where he fits, and then it would be amazing to do our own solo movie, but the audience really has to, love him and want to be there. It has to be R-rated, but you've also got to build the fan base for that. You can't just drop that in there and expect everyone to come in. You got to watch it. You got to warm them up. I don't want to say anything yet. So I agree. Make sure the fan, because he's a pretty niche character. Not a lot of people fucking know who Lobo even is. And star power doesn't really do anything. It's like, oh yeah, I know Jason Momoa. He was Aquaman. He was that guy in Fast X. But that's kind of the most you'll get from that. So you can't just ride that high, because star power isn't a high anymore. It's a lowest of the lows.
It doesn't take you as far as it used to, right?
Yeah, and so you got to make sure to really build that, because you can't go in half-cocked and be like, oh yeah, by the way, this person's getting a solo movie. Kind of like what they did with Supergirl in the first place. But,
Well, we'll find out. No, but you know what? It kind of was in the back of my head, but I was like, a Lobo movie would be fine, right? But then reading these quotes from Jason Momoa, I'm like, you know what? You're right. You're right, because I don't care if you call him the Deadpool of DC or the Red Hood or whatever. Lobo is a character that, while a lot of people, it's almost like Moon Knight. When Moon Knight got greenlit at Marvel for Disney Plus, they were like, oh my God, Moon Knight, even though most people had never read a single thing about Moon Knight. But there's a general awareness, but there's also, you gotta remember that when it comes to releasing a movie in wide release, theatrical release film that's expected to make hundreds of millions of dollars, and you have already put in hundreds of millions of dollars to make that film, especially with Lobo, because it's not going to be like an earthbound story. Likely it's going to be some kind of galactic adventure because it's Lobo. And if Supergirl does well, which we all hope it does, then I feel like that's going to raise the profile of the character. But yeah, it's like, I was thinking about it in just dollars, dollars and cents. If they did make a Lobo movie, let's say after because I was going in and thinking, if Lobo does really well here, or he's a big hit in Supergirl, then we might be getting a green light, and James Gunn might have said, oh yeah, we got a Lobo movie in the works before the end of this year. But then now I'm thinking, listening to Jason Momoa talk about it, it makes a really good point that you think about, if they made a Lobo movie and they wanted to release it, let's say next year or the year after, most likely 2028, what would its opening weekend be? Would it be closer to what Supergirl potentially will make? Or would it be closer to what Superman made last year? Or maybe what, the Batman did in this opening weekend? I certainly don't think it's going to get 100 million plus opening weekend. It's just unlikely, because like you said, it's just not a very well-known character, even though, it's obviously a great character. I think you need to have him get a bit of a rub from, right now, Supergirl, but also Supergirl has the benefit of the S, which doesn't stand, it's not an S, it stands for hope, but she's got the Superman crest, And even though she's her own character, it's, you know, everybody knows Superman, and she's wearing the same costume. So Lobo doesn't have that to his benefit. And so I was like, yeah, maybe if they did make a Lobo movie, like what's like the ceiling? Like 400 million, 300 million at the box office, not even like Black Adam numbers. And Black Adam had Dwayne Johnson in it. But also Black Adam was not a very well-known character, you know? So yeah, I feel like what Jason Momoa is basically saying, they've got plans for him, and they're probably going to have him maybe make an appearance also in Man of Tomorrow. Maybe not as big of an appearance as he does in Supergirl. They might have him show up in a future TV show of some kind. Maybe he shows up in Lanterns. I mean, he's a intergalactic character who hangs out on other planets, and the Lanterns do as well. So I think that could all eventually lead to him getting his own thing. But John, if I had to ask you, what would your plan be, and how soon would you be willing to give a green light to a Lobo movie? Because I'm really rethinking my idea of, like I pitched at the beginning of the segment, that, hey, this movie is a backdoor pilot for a Lobo movie, and then therefore that would imply that they're just ready to make a Lobo movie right afterwards. But I'm beginning to think maybe they shouldn't do that.
I'm sure, like, personality-wise, Tom King is a perfectly fine individual. Seems like a nice guy. You know who else seemed like a nice guy? Hitler. He seemed okay at the beginning, just a guy making speeches in bars, and then they're like, let's take his anti-Semitism and use that and make him be the guy for the Nazi party. So, you know who else seemed like a nice guy? Jeffrey Dahmer.
Let's pull it back,
Ted
John.
Bundy seemed nice. You know, these guys seem nice, and then they turn out to be monsters. Okay, so you know. That's just how it is,
Jason
bro.
Momoa has had movies go to streaming, but talking about Lobo, John, how would you treat the character? Because I'm wondering whether it is such a good idea to maybe give him his own movie right after Supergirl, not necessarily like the next movie we see, but like green light it right away. Or do you think they need to kind of build up the character even more, a few more appearances here and there, maybe?
I would say give him a few more appearances. Maybe he shows up in the fucking Jimmy Olsen show. Be like,
that would be
hey,
interesting.
You fucking Bastich, you fucking need my help. All right, fine, I'll give you some help. And he's just in some dive bar or whatever. He's like, this planet kind of sucks, but it's got some good beer. And but he's like drinking a Bud Light, and it's like, dude, that shit's piss water. And he's like, the fuck you talking about? But like, beer to him actually tastes like piss, so it works. So
good point by MTG.
Or like something like that, or another, like maybe he like, you know, fucking cameos in Lantern season 2.
I was gonna say, that would make sense. That, like I said, you know, the other planets, Lobo hangs out on other planets. He could come to Earth. Yeah, he's not above doing shows. I mean, the guy started out on TV, Stargate Atlantis, everybody. Go back and watch that. I'm still rewatching it. Everybody in the chat catching up with your Tom King analogy. Yeah. Fraggot, where's Big Blue? Okay, yeah. Well, he hasn't. I don't know if he's ever met Superman. That's actually a good question. Yeah, you know, if I were in James Gunn's position, I would be thinking, okay, Lobo let's see how well he's received in Supergirl. If he's like somebody who you see listed and pretty much and talked about in every review in glowing terms, then maybe let's give him another big appearance and then give him his own thing. Or like, let's not rush to it, because I don't think they need to like have a Lobo movie in the pipeline for 2028, 2029. I wouldn't mind like waiting a few years. I'm sure Jason Momoa probably signed a appearance deal anyway. And regardless of how overpowered or underpowered he is, I think for most people it's going to be a matter of like, why go see a Lobo movie? You know, I mean, John, are there any iconic stories from the comics they can kind of work into the DCU?
Not really. It's mainly character driven, not really story driven. He's just a bounty hunter. Like, there's nothing like, oh yeah, this Lobo. So it's just like you can use anything. Like, essentially, just insert the character into any situation, and it'll be fine. Just like kind of do that, and you're good to go.
Oh, like the Mando and Grogu movie, another bounty hunter.
Yeah, but this would be good. That's the thing.
Well, I mean, you never know. The other thing I was gonna say is if they do make a Lobo movie, or when they make a Lobo movie, I would imagine the first one shouldn't be $100 million film. Like, I think they need to kind of take maybe a Clayface level approach to it. You could still do other planets, intergalactic story with that. It just, obviously the budget won't be as high as Supergirl or Superman. But I mean, then again, you got like a A-lister like Jason Momoa, who was in 2 Aquaman movies. Like, those things were 2 of the more expensive films that Warner Brothers and DC have ever made. So you sign the caliber star like Jason Momoa, he's the most recognizable name even in this film, Supergirl. So I don't think they're gonna make a TV show with him, unless, I mean, you could do an HBO show, but it's not like the HBO show is gonna help the general audience appeal of Lobo, because the HBO is like, it's a paywall unless you subscribe to the streaming service. It's not really going to be how you introduce Lobo to the masses. I think Supergirl is going to be more helpful in that case, and then maybe if he shows up in Man of Tomorrow, that would be nice. Do you think that he might be involved in any of the stories they're trying to tell with, what's the planet that Peacemaker's on? Why am I forgetting? He's meant to be on, where did he get stranded? Peacemaker. Somebody in the chat. But like, you could maybe, like, Planet Salvation, like maybe that story. Do you think Lobo could be in part of that somehow?
Maybe.
Or no?
Possibly.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, I know Lobo deserves a solo movie, and hello, Manos Time, but it's just, we're talking about Salvation Island, right? But it's just that thing of like the financials of it. Will it make sense? Like, if you guys had to predict, how much money do you think a Lobo movie will actually make at the box office? I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like Black Adam money at most, like somewhere in the 400 million range, if that. Both of the Aquaman movies Jason Momoa was a part of made more money than that. And Aquaman was presented as a more family-friendly character, whereas this, I mean, it's going to be rated R, so that automatically cuts out a big chunk of that audience. You know what? That would be interesting if Lobo is involved, like, in an Earthbound adventure. That could certainly bring the budget down. You don't have to spend as much money.
Yeah, I mean, that's just get the script from fucking 1998 and boom, there you go.
Yeah, I feel like they did a good job with Lobo and Krypton. I mean, it's not no Jason Momoa, but I think that actor did a decent job. David Leitch. By the way, guys, we actually had we have a poll up for Fancast Friday, which it's actually Friday on the East Coast as we are live. But for the Fancast Friday poll, one of the options was DCU's Lobo director, and it's the least voted for option. So I guess we'll be talking about Travis Knight's DCU movie tomorrow. Maybe one of those could be Lobo, unless you want David Leitch. But with that, John, I don't know if you're able to load up the Mount Rushmore Monday poll for a second, but I wanted to read what MTG had to say. You know my theory: make movies unless the story is too convoluted. Yeah, no, I hear you. We just don't know how Lobo connects to even Supergirl's story beyond the fact they meet at a bar, fight some aliens, and human traffickers and stuff. So we'll see. Maybe he has a bigger role to play than we've been led on to believe in Supergirl. And if he does, then maybe that will make it easier for us to be like, oh yes, we can totally see how a Lobo movie would work now. But until then, I mean, all the good news is Jason Momoa has talked about it with James Gunn, Peter Safran. He has been told there's more plans. He's just not able to reveal them to us. But, John, in other words, as a previous iteration of Jason Momoa in the DC universe would say, the ride ain't over yet, my man. Or Cyborg would say the my man part.
But apparently nobody cares about a Lobo director, so.
Apparently nobody cares about it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, VFX heavy, if whether it's a TV show or a movie, unless you make it very Earthbound. You just shoot it in the forests of Vancouver. Like, that's what they did with Krypton. Like, I think you can make that work on a budget. It looks like any random forest, unless you live in Vancouver. You know what? We are going to be bringing Travis Knight to the DCU tomorrow, because that's the Fancast Friday episode topic. It's winning by a big margin. But John, do you have the poll for Mount Rushmore Monday? Because I just wanted to make that pitch one more time to you guys, because it's a new thing. We haven't done this before. So as we wrap up the show today, we are done with talking about the Lobo movie. But, obviously we are looking forward to seeing that happen potentially. Manos Time saying I would make a HBO Max spinoff special just like how Punisher did, make it better than Punisher's thing. That's interesting. I mean, DC has shown no inclination to do those, But if they wanted to do like basically a TV movie, I wouldn't mind seeing that. It would be just interesting because again, Jason Momoa as a movie star, like if you're paying him whatever they're paying him, I don't know if it's worth it to just do a TV movie. But anyway, John, what we are doing that's new for this week going into next week, we did a Mount Rushmore Monday segment on this past Monday's DCU Daily. Next Monday, we're bringing it back, but we're going to have you guys vote for the topic that's going to be featured on the Mount Rushmore Monday on Monday. And we currently have 4 options. You got pirate films, movie speeches, but I'm surprised they're not getting voted any higher. And then time travel movies, which is currently winning the poll. And then Western films, which is second. So if you guys haven't already, the link is on the screen. It's in the chat. It's in the description below if you're watching after we're live. Or just go to the community post section on the channel. Go vote for that poll for Mount Rushmore Monday. This is how it's going to work. So we're going to basically decide who's the winner by Saturday. And then on Saturday, I'm going to put up another post on the channel, which is going to ask for your picks for the winning topic, whether it's time travel movies, movie speeches, pirate films, or Western films. And then you guys give us your Mount Rushmore in the comments for that post, and then we'll bring some of your picks, we'll bring our picks, John and I, and then that's what we're going to be talking about on Mount Rushmore Monday. It looks like right now time travel is winning. There's still Western films around. They're just not.
I mean, is there really a Mount Rushmore for time travel? It's just Back to the Future. That's like the best one. That's like.
No, I feel like there's more. Like you got Tenet. Right? In terms of really for me,
it's not really. It's like the only 2 I could think of are like Back to the Future and like Bill and Ted, but like dude, that's Looper, kind of it.
There's Looper, like you remember that?
Yes, but I don't really see that as a Mount Rushmore kind of movie.
Okay, well, I mean, it's all subjective, but
I mean, yeah, like I mean, we can look into it, but like I feel like there's more like Western films that are Mount Rushmore level. So,
but John, it's like you can make a Mount Rushmore for anything. It's about like what you consider your 4 best of something, right? That's the whole concept. I mean, there's actually quite a few Western movies. Like I remember a few years ago when we were doing the podcast, still the same channel, there was a single year where it seemed like the Westerns were completely back. There were like 6 Western movies coming out the same year, including like 2 on Netflix and everything. The Time Machine is another one. There's plenty of time travel movies. What are you talking about, dude?
I can't think of any right now. That's the thing.
I'm like, do you think Project Hail Mary counts as time travel because they're technically travel at relative
it's not a time travel film.
Or like Interstellar because by the time he travels back,
like for instance, I don't consider like
Stargate
or Edge of Tomorrow time travel movies, even though they travel back to the beginning of the day. It's not really time travel.
Okay, yeah. Stargate is not time travel technically because they don't really. Like,
I mean, you have Time Cop, but Time Cop fucking sucks.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, there was a couple of TV shows. There was Timeless. That was a good time travel.
Timeless was there.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The poll is still open, guys. So you have until Saturday to pick your pick. Basically, go. Oh, Hot Tub Time Machine. That's one. I mean, obviously, Back to the Future. I think the original Back to the Future for me would be up there. I would put Tenet up there. 12 Monkeys has to go up there. And dude, how are you forgetting Terminator?
That is true.
Terminator.
I forgot Terminator.
Come on.
There we go.
It's like, can we just go back to Baby Hitler and just like, that's not how time travel works? Because remember, that's how it got brought up in Avengers Endgame, which is also a time travel movie. Some people might think that to be one.
Army of Darkness is technically a time travel movie, yes.
I mean, Planet of the Apes, the original one, is sort of a
technically, but that's like,
or like the Mark
Wahlberg
really
categorize it as a time travel.
Time travel's wife, probably not an Mount Rushmore.
MTG, okay, switching to westerns. Yeah. Oh, fucking Buckaroo Banzai? Are you fucking kidding me?
I mean, for me, like if I did a westerns, I would put Unforgiven on there, The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. I'm thinking of another John West.
Probably Once Upon a Time in the West. Pretty much anything by Sergio Leone.
Once Upon a Time in the West. I would actually put a Bollywood movie on there, Sholay, which I don't think a lot of people have seen, but you might have heard of it. That would be my Mount Rushmore. But anyway, that's super iconic.
Not Bone Tomahawk, because Bone Tomahawk sucks.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? X-Men Days of Future Past is a time travel movie, though. I don't know, John. I think you were blanking on them. There's plenty of time.
I think I was blanking because I'm like, I can't think of any right now.
Yeah. The Butterfly Effect was another one you guys mentioned in the chat. There's a lot of those, actually. I mean, there's a whole genre unto itself. depending on how these Avengers movies play out, one of them might have time travel in it as well. So, okay. Well, on that note, go vote for the poll. And like I said, on Saturday, we'll pick the top winning topic.
Also, by the way,
yeah.
my friend just got back, apparently, or just said to another friend of mine, from seeing Disclosure Day, and he thought it was great. Said it was great. That's the only thing we've gotten, is that he said it was great.
It's certified fresh and Rotten Tomatoes, and I'm gonna go see it this weekend.
And I saw some reviews on Letterboxd that were kind of middling, so I'm like, oh, that's a shame. But someone I actually trust,
said it was. I feel
great,
like a lot of the headlines I've seen is like the perfect 70s thriller, like, you know, and you see the trailer has all those elements to it with Colin Firth's character and everything. I'm looking forward to it. You know what? It's either going to be the best alien UFO movie in a long time, which was the Mount Rushmore Monday topic this week, or it's going to be like AI. And I'm sure I'll let you guys know which one it is, one way or the other. And on that lovely note, John, I believe we are done for the night. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Another episode of DCU Daily and an episode of Fancast Friday. If you haven't voted for that poll, that's also still up. But yeah, go on ahead and do all the things. Like, subscribe, notification bell so you know when we go live. We appreciate you. Stay blessed, friends. Stay curious.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in a stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all on the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto. Hunka hunka!
And fuck David Ellison, fuck Jeff Snyder, and fuck Tom King.
1-8! 1-8! 1-8! 1-8!